Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku became Power Ranger and had harem? Part 2. This story is Izuku Ranger Life in a Female World by Zo23619. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button, as your one like motivates me to bring more stories, and subscribe the channel if you are new so you won't miss our latest videos. Location: the moon. On the moon, the villains had just witnessed what Izuku had just done and how it happened, which had just ruined their future plan to get rid of him. Lord Zed. This brat is on my nerves. From how many times we send our minions down, he always finds a way and beats them. We had a great plan to get rid of him, and now he found a way for him to get back from it. We need a new plan. Who has ideas? Divatox. Just blow up his portal gun and he can't get back, I supposed, and your problem will be solved. Avox. That idea not bad, but there has been more to it. When we have our portal gun fit, let's have the device that's separated Heckle and Snide from each other and use it on that ranger. It won't work on him, but it will work on his morpher because all of his little watch. When that happens, we open a portal and blast. When you get blasted back, so will all these morphers will be destroyed and separated and with no way back as well. Quote, Snide. Yes, I remember that machine. It separated both of us and hurt for a small bit until the separation was complete. But since he has all of those morphers combined to his DNA, it will be much more painful for him, and it will give us an opening to fire the gun. Queen Banshira. That is a perfect point. Now you have to wait for the right time, plus as well waiting for Professor Cog to be done with that portal gun. As they were talking, Professor Cog walked right into the room and with a case in his hands. Professor Cog. I am terribly sorry for the long wait, but I have finally finished the portal gun that will finally get rid of that ranger with a little something I put in here that will make his life miserable. Lothor. Well, how will this make sure that he will not come back when we send him away? Professor Cog. That is quite easy, my friend, from the information that I have gained from a bug I made. I had created an android from some parts from the minions that the SPD ranger had fought and some other thing, and as well a ladybug to finish it off. When I combined them all, it gave me the best info gathering machine that I have ever made. When it was finished, I had it follow Izuku and stayed by its side no matter what and couldn't leave 25 feet from him. When it saw Izuku get his portal gun, the ladybug sent all its data to me that it collected for the journey that was going to go on. When it came back from its journey with important information to get rid of Izuku forever. Lord Zed. And what is that, Cog? Professor Cog. With the ladybug getting close to him, it gains the info on the portal gun and a small bit on his morpher, since it was hard to gain info on. His portal gun gain its power from the morphing grid that coming from his morphing, and the portal gun lets him travel to different dimensions that has the morphing grid flowing it, and he can go to in dimensions with his DNA, and there is a with all of those locations he can probably ask them for help or the other way around. Lord Zed. Well, now we have our plan. We need a time to strick Trachina. Like right now, because he is fighting a big crowd of villains at the place called the USJ and protecting his students, friends from some monster that this villain group had made. Lord Zed. Well, everything is now set up for the perfect moment. Gather the strongest generals you have left, and it's time to end the Rangers once and for all. Few minutes ago, Izuku Pav. Today it was time to go to the USJ for rescue training today with 13 today with my mom as well, but knowing her, she will probably use all of her time for today. The only problem right now is that the bus is going to be late because the driver got sick and did not tell us, and now Miss Aizawa left to get the bus. Mina. I am so bored and the bus won't get here in like 30 minutes maybe. Sue. She is right, it will be nice if we had some entertainment. Toru. I know, don't you agree? Ojir, Uraraka, Aoyama. The three of them all nodded their heads and everyone was thinking of what to do. Iida. I have an idea. Let's act like good students and stand here and do nothing and wait for the bus to come. Izumi. That is not a good idea at all, plus no one will listen at all, you know. When everyone was talking with each other, Momo started to whisper in Jiruo's ear. Both girls came up to me and asked if I could sing a song to them. I told them I can, but the class has to vote on what type one have to sing. When the class was done, a few of them wanted a song about a hero's journey, a love song, a duet, or a type of rock song. When I was told what to pick from the choices, I decided to go with a duet, and it's the song me and Momo made together. When I told Momo that we are doing that song, and we both got into our spot on the bus bench with Jiruo setting up cups of water up. When we were about to start, I took out my mystic morpher and cast a spell on Momo, much to her surprise and everyone else's. I told them that it will make it better and the spell will only last for 5 minutes. When I was done explaining, we got ready to sing and the spell of illusion cover Momo's body, much to the surprise of everyone. Momo, right here, right now. I put the offer out. I don't wanna chase you down. I know you see it. You run with me, and I can cut you free. Out of the drudgery and walls you keep in. So trade that typical for something colorful. As she taps the table, Jiro gives 2 waters to her. And if it's crazy, live a little crazy. You can play it sensible, a king of conventional. Or you can risk it all and see. Don't you wanna get away from the same old part you gotta play? 'Cause I got what you need. So come with me and take the ride. It'll take you to the other side. 'Cause you can do like you do. She get up on the other table and start dancing across from them. Or you can do like me. Stay in the cage, or you finally take the key. Oh, damn, suddenly you're free to fly. It'll take you to the other side. Izuku, okay, my friend, you wanna cut me in? Well, I hate to tell you, but it just won't happen. So thanks, but no. I think I'm good to go. 'Cause I quite enjoy the life you say I'm trapped in. Now I admire you, and that whole show you do. You're on to something, really it's something. But I live among the swells, and we don't pick up peanut shells. As he really throws peanut shells at her, with the others wondering where he got them. I'll have to leave that up to you. Don't you know that I'm okay with this Uptown Part 1 get to play? 'Cause I got what I need and I don't wanna take the ride. I don't need to see the other side. So go and do like you do. I'm good to do like me. Ain't in a cage, so I don't need to take the key. He gets on the table they started on and dance. His was down while Jiro move each cup so the won't be spill. Oh, damn, can't you see I'm doing fine? I don't need to see the other side. Momo, now is this really how you'd like to spend your days? Whiskey and misery, and parties and plays. Izuku, if I were mixed up with you, I'd be the talk of the town. Disgraced and disowned, another one of the clowns. Momo, but you would finally live a little, finally laugh a little. Just let me give you the freedom to dream and it'll wake you up and cure your aching. Take your walls and start 'em breaking. Now that's a deal that seems worth taking. But I guess I'll leave that up to you. As Izuku is walking away and stops to think before turning around to give his answer. Izuku, well, it's intriguing, but to go would cost me greatly. So what percentage of the show would I be taking? Momo, fair enough. You'd want a piece of all the action. I'd give you 7. We could shake and make it happen. Momo taps the table to signal Jiro to start putting out 8 cups on the table and filled them up with water. Izuku, I wasn't born this morning. 18 would be just fine. Momo, why not just go ahead and ask for nickels on the dime? Izuku, 15. Momo, I'd do 8. Izuku, 12. Momo, maybe 9. Izuku, 10. As both of them stopped facing each other, Jiro gave them both a look, how she was asking for something. Then Momo was starting to patting herself to try and find something, but before she can continue, Izuku pulls out some cash and handed it to Jiro, where she smiles and started to sing again. Momo, Izuku, don't you wanna get away to a whole new part you're gonna play? 'Cause I got what you need, so come with me and take the ride. Both started to drink all 8 cups of water one at a time until they were gone. To the other side, so if you do like I do. So if you do like me. Forget the cage, 'cause we know how to make the key. Oh, damn, suddenly we're free to fly. We're going to the other side. So if you do like I do. To the other side, so if you do like me. We're going to the other side. 'Cause if we do, we're going to the other side. We're going to the other side. What Momo looked like during the 5 minutes. When they had ended the song, Momo took a look at her body to be surprised that she was a male now, but before she could say anything she started to glow and was back to her regular self. Momo. Izuku, can you please explain what just happened to me? Izuku. I had cast an illusion spell on you to make you look and sounded like a guy, and once the song was over the spell went away. When I had finished what Momo had asked me, Miss Aizawa came up with the bus and told us to get in so we can go to the USJ and get class started, because knowing her, she wants to sleep when the class is over. On the way there, everyone was having a good time until Sue decided to ask Izumi a question. Sue, Hey Midoriya, sorry I say what comes to my mind and your quirks is similar to All Might, why is that? Izumi. Well, I never noticed that, why are you asking? Kirishima. Wait, hold on now, she might have the same quirk as her but All Might does not break her bones at all like Midoriya does. Izuku. Sue is right, you know, because my mom has a quirk that makes her what she is. Besides, everyone knows that her quirk is a big mystery and secret and I only know what it is. Now for Izumi, quirk is a type of stockpile or energy type quirk from when I look at it when she uses it during her time here so far. Mina. So who cares right now, I like how we just met each other and we had became like family. Zero. It's like we all have a role for the class. Miss Aizawa is the mom of the class, and Izuku is the big brother of us and everyone else are his sisters, am I right? Izumi. You are right about that. As Izumi puts her head down knowing that Izuku is really her big brother and having a hard time telling him. Tokiyami. Hey Izuku, since it's going to take a bit till we get there, can you sing a song to pass the time? Izuku. Sure, what song do you want me to play? After when they were done discussing they all decided a song that had to have an animal in it. Izuku. Okay, I got the song but let me get the instruments for it. As Izuku got out the samurai morpher and did Symbol's power to get the instruments he needed out, then took out the mystic morpher out and put a spell on them to become small with the same volume as it was not small and being played by itself. When Izuku got everything he needed, he got ready to sing a song he has been working on. Put on your war paint. You are a brick tied to me that's dragging me down. Strike a match and I'll burn you to the ground. We are the jack-o'-lanterns in July, setting fire to the sky. Here comes this rising tide, so come on. Put on your war paint. Cross walks and crossed hearts and hope to die. Silver clouds with gray linings. So we can take the world back from the heart attacked. One maniac at a time we will take it back. You know time crawls on when you're waiting for the song to start. So dance alone to the beat of your heart. Hey, young blood, doesn't it feel like our time is running out? I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Wearing our vintage misery. No, I think it looked a little better on me. I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. As he was singing the song, the class starting to get excited, but during all of that Shoka was having a battle with her thoughts. Shoka sad face, maybe he is right, it's not hers, it's mine. Bring home the boys in scraps, scrap metal the tanks. Get hitched, make a career out of robbing banks. Because the world is just a teller and we are wearing black masks. You broke our spirit, says the note we pass. So we can take the world back from the heart attacked. One maniac at a time we will take it back. You know time crawls on when you're waiting for the song to start. So dance alone to the beat of your heart. Hey, young blood, doesn't it feel like our time is running out? I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Wearing our vintage misery. No, I think it looked a little better on me. I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Put on your war paint. The war is won before it's begun. Release the doves, surrender love. The war is won before it's begun. Release the doves, surrender love. The war is won before it's begun. Release the doves, surrender love. Wave the white flag, yeah. The war is won before it's begun. Wave the white flag, yeah. Release the doves, surrender love. Wave the white flag, yeah. Hey, young blood, doesn't it feel like our time is running out? I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Wearing our vintage misery. No, I think it looked a little better on me. I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Hey, young blood, doesn't it feel like our time is running out? I'm going to change you like a remix. Then I'll raise you like a phoenix. Put on your war paint. When Izuku had finished singing, the class had good thoughts about the song. When they were about to ask questions until Aizawa told us we were here. When we got off the bus we were greeted with 13 at the front of the USJ. 13. Hello students and welcome to the USJ where all the rescue training takes place. Now let's go over a few things about safety. When 13 finished telling all the rules, we made it inside and about to go down until I saw a portal open in the center plaza with villains coming out, and the last ones to come out are covered in hands and a big bird thing. When I saw this, I told 13 to protect the students, and me and Izawa starting running down the stairs and got my clones out and starting morphing into a ranger before getting to the bottom of the stairs. As we were fighting, I saw the villain that was covered in smoke had disappeared for a bit, then came back saying that she got rid of the students and placed them around the USJ. When Izawa had finished with her group of villains, my team finished ours after her, and it came to the main battle with the leader of this group. During the fight, the all of Class 1A made it back to the top of the stairs, and my mom had show up to help win this battle. Right as we were going to finish the leader of the group, but Lord Zed had came and brought an army full of different monster from each team of rangers had fought against, and I need to change to help even the odds. When I was about to move, all of the monsters had blasted me, which had thrown me back and made me demorph. As I was struggling to get up, I got blasted again by Professor Cog. Professor Cog, this is the end of you once and for all, and you won't be coming back. Where I'll be sending you. As I see him pull out a portale gun of his own and blast it behind me, which was starting to pull me into it, but before I could get any closer, Izumi came by my side to try to save me, but what caught me off guard is what she said. Izumi, I'm sorry, I can't stand still and watch this happen, and I'm not going to lose you because I need you in my life. I need my big brother. Izuku, I need to fight. Izuku, so you found out as well, and I am not going anywhere. As I said that, Izumi was crying, but Professor Cog was ready to blast Izumi, so I pushed her out of the way, but the blast hit me. The blasty was aimed at my morpher as I got launched into the portal as it closed. Izumi paw. As I finally told Izumi who I was, he was smiling and he told me what took so long. I started to cry that I have Izuku in my life now, and not as a hero or a teacher, but as my true family member, my big brother. But I saw Izuku's face change, and the next moment I was on the ground away from him. When I looked up, I saw him get blasted and his morpher started to crack and then explode, which made Izuku get thrown back into the portal surrounded by colors. When he went through, the portal closed. The Rangers villains started to celebrate, saying that the earth is all there, and it was at the same time All Might had won her battle, but she was crying because she had seen what happened and she was Izuku's mother. All of the villains had left when the teachers came back up, and everyone has the same question in their mind: what had happened to Izuku? Izuku paw. Falling. That's all I've been doing since being blasted by Professor Cog. I lost count and felt empty for what feels like days. Ever since I woke up from being blasted what feels like hours ago, I saw my morpher complete damage, and I feel that the power is gone. With what feels like I can only do one more morph and the power of the grid will be gone. As I'm falling, I remember everything that happened at the USJ. How it was supposed to be a fun time learning about rescue and safety turned into a battle when villains came, and later all of the past Rangers' enemies came as well and won by getting rid of me. I'm just happy that I finally told Izumi that her big brother is happy for her. As I kept on falling, a white flash blinded me, and all of a sudden I was in the middle of a field. When I saw myself in a random field, I had no idea where I was until I heard two people fighting, and I decided to see what was going on. When I went to see who was fighting, I saw something that confused me, and it was two random knights fighting and arguing about creating something about monsters and leaving their home, with four other knights standing by watching them argue on the side. When I was about to ask them where I was, all of a sudden someone blasted the two fight knights. When the smoke cleared, all the knights got on guard, and the one responsible for the blast came forward and revealed to be one of the ranger enemies that I thought that came with me when I got blasted through the portal, but I didn't know which one though, because it was a new one for me. As I was about to go fight, I heard what I think the leader called the monster a sporix, and the team of knights started to fight it off until all of a sudden a loud roar had got everyone's attention, and judging from that sound I quickly knew what it was. To my surprise, there was a living Tyrannosaurus Rex behind the knights, but to my surprise one of the knights started to ride it like a horse, and the rest of the knights also got on different perestroika animals as well. When they were fighting more of the sporix, they made it into the middle of the forest with me behind them. When they were fighting them, one of the sporix went behind one of the knights and was about to strike them, so I jumped out of my hiding spot and knocked the sporix away, but doing that gave me away and now everyone can see me. When all of them were looking at me, I took the chance and grabbed the sword from the knight I saved and defied the sporix that was giving them trouble. As the knights watched with their eyes wide, the leader was about to introduce himself, but a portal appeared and out came 6 figures that I have seen before, as they were the morphing masters. As the knights were confused and about to attack them, I stopped them before they did anything. Izuku. Wait, don't attack them, they are on your side and wants to help you to defeat the sporks. When I told them, the knights had stop and lower their weapons and the morphing masters explain what they want to do. Start at 45. When they transformed the knights into a new team of Power Rangers and was about to leave, the morphing masters all look at me and starting to say what was on their mind. Red. Well, it's nice to see you again, Izuku, but you are in a troubling problem you have on your hands. Blue. Yes, somehow you are in the prime universe of the Power Rangers and back to the beginning of it all. Yellow. From looking at your morpher, it may be damaged and cannot repair, and judging from the look of it, it was blasted from one of your enemies. Pink. We will give you a new one and it will be harder to destroy this time. As I look down, and my old morpher was repaired, but I don't feel any of the power in it. Izuku. Thank you for fixing it, but how come I don't feel any of the morphing grid in my morpher? Black. That is because for the way to gain your powers back you must gain them, and it's going to be a long time, but we will give you a gift and it will be your first ranger for your new adventure, and once you have all of the rangers forms and power again, we will send you back where you came from. Green. We are going to give you the dark energem so you can turn into a ranger. You must keep your prones to help protect everyone and must learn the way that rangers did before you to get your powers back, but you must not be that team when it is their time, but you can be a different form than the current ones at that time. Red. Now before we go, we will give you a sleeping pod that will freeze you and will wake you up when something important happened a month before, and good luck. As the morphing masters left, there was a glow behind me, and when a glow went away there was a pod which the morphing masters were talking about for me to go inside and put me to hyper sleep, then later wake up 1 hour before the important event of this timeline of the Power Rangers. As the months go by, I help defeat some of the sporks to help the Dino Fury out and as well capture them and collect them. When I collect them, I give them to the Rangers and disappear out of sight before they can even say anything. As I watch them fight the last strongest Sporks beast in its giant mode, I see the Rangers make the new Ultra Zord to fight the Sporks. As I watch the Dino Fury Rangers and they're fighting the Sporks, but all of a sudden their Zords explode and I can only see 2 escape pods that came out. As the pods escape from the exploding Zord, I grabbed the last Sporks and made my way to the Rangers' base. On my way I found 3 of the pods out of 6, but when I got close to them something came out behind the trees and made its way to the pods. Zato, please be alright because the others have passed. As I got close, it looked like a cyborg dinosaur checking them as I made my way closer to it. Izuku. Hello, what is your name and can you tell me what are you doing? You should not scared me like that, and my name is Solon and I'm trying to make back to our base because Zato is in hyper sleep and the others have passed on and I only have the blue and pink dino keys and I'm missing the green, black, and gold dino keys, and you help me get him to our base. Izuku. Sure, I got the last Sporix beast right here. As I show her the Sporix beast and we travel to their base. Alright, I should go now, but I will see you again when you wake up from your sleep. As I said that, Solon went to sleep for a long time as I went to my hyper sleep pod and let sleep come over me. As my hyper came to an end, I got up and walked around and there's still dinosaurs around and had to wait for an hour for something to happen. As I walked around I saw something in the sky. As I got a close look, it looked like a portal. All of a sudden a small box fly out and land somewhere, but a loud noise came of the portal and the noise came from what looks like a Zord of a Trex. As I saw the Quantosaurus Rex, also called Q-Rex Zord from the Time Force Rangers, come flying out of the portal and run off into the unknown and never to be seen again, but what had gotten my attention was the box that came flying out the portal and I went to go find it. Sometime later. It has been a few hours trying to find that box that is hidden in the forest, but I finally found it. As I picked it up, all of a sudden my morpher started to glow a dark red color, and when it died down, in its place was a morpher. Morpher. Quantum Ranger morpher obtain. Once I had heard my morpher telling me I had gained a morpher, I was happy that I was now on the path to gain my powers once again. Time skip. As my pod had opened, it says that I am now a few million years into the future now, but there are still dinosaurs. As I walked around exploring the new landscape, I could tell that everything had changed. As I was looking around, I had somehow walked into a clear area, and as I stopped I looked up into the sky. I see a small object coming towards me, but the object starting grow bigger and bigger until it has crash landed. When I saw the object that looked like a ship had crashed, something came out of the ship in a robe and started to be in a panic, and I decided to see if the robe figure needed help. As I walked closer to the robe figure, I started to talk to him. Izuku. Hello, do you need some help? Who are you and what do you want? Izuku. I saw you crash and you started to panic and beginning to look for something, so I thought that you needed some help. Why, thank you, but we need to act quickly before he shows up. Izuku. Okay, but first, what are we looking for, and can you tell me your name is? Yes, my name is Keeper, and we must find the energems before Furry shows up. As we looked through the wreckage, I found a pod of some kind, and when I showed Keeper it, he told me that they were the energems, but Keeper has also found some kind of crystal that was slowly getting bright red, and he told me to open the vessel up so he can get the energems out. But when I opened the pod, all of the energems started to levitate around me, and Keeper was in awe, but we were brought out of our thought when we heard something coming closer, and I grabbed all of the energems and put them in my pockets, and Keeper put the glowing red crystal in the vessel, and he laid down with the vessel in his hands, and I went into the crash ship and hid. Ah, there's his ship, and now where are those energems? They got to be here somewhere, and I will find them. Ah, Keeper, you have finally met your fate, and just to make sure you are destroyed once and for all, wait, the energems. Yes, at long last Master Sledge will become invincible. As he walked way in and flew up into space, I walk over to Keeper and help him up and ask him who was that. Keeper. That was Furry and works for Sledge, and their main goal is to take the energems' power to rule the galaxy, and it's my job to stop him. On a different story, how were you able to bound to all of the energems at once, since it is impossible for all of them to choose you? Izuku. Okay, I can explain that easily. I came from a different world or different universe where I was chosen to be a Power Ranger with all of their powers, but when all of their old enemies came back, they made a plan to stop me, and in the end they blasted my morpher, and it brought me back into the past in a different universe, and now my mission that was given to me was find every team of Rangers and help them, and as well gain my powers. Keeper. Strange, but the energems never choose wrong. Now we must find a way to protect the energems, and I know how to do it. As Keeper walked away and walked up to a Trex and asked it something, and later came back with more dinosaurs but different ones. When I saw him get close to the other dinosaurs, he made all the energems enter the dinosaurs so they could be safe. When he did that, I looked in the sky and I could see asteroids coming down, and I knew it was time for me to leave, but before I left, one of the asteroids was glowing a small red, blue, and yellow color in the middle of the one falling. I ran up to Keeper and told him that I needed to leave, and he said that we will meet again one day. As I got into my pod and went to sleep. Time skip. Ever since I woke up, I had my share of adventures throughout the Ranger timeline, and it was fun and hard at the same time. Some of the major events that had happened, I was in the background watching them go down. How Rita Repulsa gets sealed away in a space dumpster and being placed on the moon, which I found funny, and other Rangers villains get sealed away until someone opens it up later. Throughout the years I have been training myself to get stronger, and thanks to the morphing masters they made sure that I don't age at all, so I'm making sure to learn how to use the power of the Rangers instead of having the information in my head. Joining back to Japan was fun, but with it being in old-time fashion, I got to meet the past samurai rangers of the time, and thanks to me having Japanese as my first language, I told them my life story and they started to train me of how the samurai ranger should be. Time skip. As the years went by, I went to different areas around the world. I had found the Order of the Claw to become a Paizook master, so I can start my training with the animal spirits that I have locked away that I have from the Jungle Fury Rangers. When the headmaster had greeted me, he could sense all of the animal spirits that I have, and from his reaction that he had, I told him about the animal spirits that I have and had asked them to help me unlock them and help me become a Paizook master as well. When training with the Grand Master, it was a hard challenge because of the spirits that are inside of me. When I was being trained, I had the Paizook masters of the gorilla, penguin, and antelope. When I told the 3 masters that I had 13 animal spirits that I can use, and 3 of them were theirs, and they had a hard time believing me until I told them my story about everything. When I finished, they believed me and we started my training. When I finished their training in mastering the gorilla, penguin, and antelope, I started on the other spirits and tried to master them. I had finally finished all of my training mastering the animal spirits of the tiger, jaguar, cheetah, wolf, rhino, elephant, bat, shark, black lion, and chameleon. When I was ready to leave, the headmaster told me to stay for my final test, and I had to face him in a battle to see if I was truly a master or not. When facing him I was having a little trouble because when fighting the headmaster was a great honor, and when the battle was about to finish he unleashed his animal spirit of the zebra, and when I went to unleash one of my animal spirits to fight it, but instead of one all of them came out and fought and defeated the Grandmaster animal spirit. Grandmaster. Well done, you have truly have made me proud, and time for your reward now. I can you a Paizook master, now you have earned it. As soon as he said that I felt my lower arm having a burning feeling for a short bit, and when I roll up my sleeve I saw the order of the claw on my arm as a tattoo. Grandmaster. I know what you are thinking now, and to answer your question is that when a student becomes a Paizook master the order of the claw appears on your arm. It shows you that you are a true master of your animal spirit and will earn the title master, but with you, you get to choose what you want Paizook students get to call you. Now I believe you have to be on your way for your next adventure to help you restore your power and safe travails. Time skip. Many years have passed now since meeting the morphing masters million of years ago, learning about the history of the world and as well as the ranger side of it before they were released and sealed as well, except the Time Force and the SPD Rangers. But now it's the year 1993 and it should be time for Zordon to pick the ranger now. Standing outside of the command center just waiting for the chosen five to come in a rainbow of their color. While waiting around for a few hours they finally came to the command center. I waited outside for them, and when they did I heard them talking to each other asking if it was all real. When they passed by I made my way in and made my way to the center to find Zordon. When I made it inside I could hear someone cheering. Alpha 5. Zordon, they done it, they made the metamorphosis. Zordon. Good, teleport them to Angle Grove City. Retta just sent down Golder. When the Rangers returned Zordon told them about the rule of being a Power Ranger and how they can never break it. As the Rangers were about to be teleported home their morphers started to glow. Alpha 5. What is going on with their morphers? Jason. Why are they glowing? Is it supposed to do that? Zordon. No, they are not supposed to be, there is something messing with their power. As Zordon finished the whole room glow white and everyone was blind until the light went away and the Rangers did not know what was going on. Unit, a voice got everyone's attention. Master Morpher. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers red, blue, black, yellow and pink acquire along with weapons and Zords. As everyone present looked to where the voice came from there was no one there at all. Izuku. Man that was close to being discovered. I don't want them to find me just yet, but I'll make them be on their guard for a bit. Months later. A couple months have gone by and watching from the background was an interesting fight and how the Rangers have deal with the problem. A few days ago Rita got her own Ranger and it is the Green Ranger. Watching the Ranger fight him was interesting to see, but at the end they saved Tommy from Rita's spell and joined the Rangers as the 6-1. When he joined, my Morpher started to glow and I received the message. Master Morpher. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Green acquired along with weapon and Zord. I smile at this knowing that I only have one more Ranger to receive but still need the Thunder Zords and the others that this team of Rangers have used. Time skip. Also I'm having a hard time writing this, so I'm just going to do some scenes with Izuku being seen and helping them. A few years have passed since the start received all the power of the Rangers of the Alien, Zeo, Turbo, Space, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed, Time Force, and now I'm watching the Wild Force Rangers having a hard time fighting Org and the Rangers were down, so I decided to lend them a hand by using the animal spirits that I learned from the Paizook Grandmaster years ago. From 037 to 104 just the Zord. When the Org was destroyed the Wild Force Rangers were confused of how there was another Wild Zord of the Wolf, but when they tried to get close to the Wolf Zord it disappeared. When it was time for the Wild Force Rangers to face Master Org, my Morpher obtained the Wild Force Rangers' power, weapons and Zords, and I looked back at the Rangers. They defeated Master Org and I left to search for the next Ranger team. Time skip. I am now eating at a frozen yogurt joint right now to relax for a bit since helping the other Rangers from each team because it was making my head hurt from what had happened when facing all of their enemies as well as when they lost the ability to morph for a bit. I remember when past Rangers team from Ninja Storm to Mystic Force as well as Adam from Mighty Morphin. Flashback. Seeing them together brought a simple on my face, but there was only 5 of them, so I decided to join as well as I summoned the Dark Energem power and had a boomerang in my hand and throw it at the 2 enemies, and when they hit everyone stop and look my way, and once they saw me I smirk and morph for the first time into the Spino Ranger. Start at 050 and end at 105. When I finish I had explained who I was and only told them that I will only be here for a short bit until they can morph again, then later help. Flashback end. As I was enjoying my yogurt, all of a sudden I someone yelling something and I decided to see what was going on, and what I saw was some people setting up something and letting it collapse, making a crate fall, and was about to hit someone in the way, and it has been going on for a few hours now. I decide to see what they are doing. Izuku. You know this look, you are trying to find someone but having a hard time. As I said that, the group of 5 turn around and saw me. Ah, what do you mean? We are not trying to find somebody. Izuku. Right, you've been doing this for about an hour trying to find the right person and see if anything happens when they hold the purple gem. We don't know what you are talking about. Izuku. All right, well, I best be going. Nice to meet you and good luck with trying to find who will bond with the purple energem, and also tell Keeper I said hi. As I walk away from them with surprised faces and disappeared behind the building. Who was that? But this is a big problem. Tyler, Chase, and Kota, find him. We need to get answers from him of how he knows about us. Tyler. Will do, Miss Morgan. Come on you guys. Morgan. Riley, what did he means by tell Keeper to say hi for him? Is it possible that Keeper knows him? Riley. I don't know, but I hope Keeper does. At the end of the week. Morgan. Well, a lot has happened this week. Let's go over. Let's see. The red and purple were taken and retrieved. I became the new Purple Ranger. Chase. Let's not forget the one stranger from the park that figure out our ideates, and he said that he knew Keeper. Morgan. Yes, that is true. Keeper, do you know who he was? Keeper. Perhaps, but tell me, what did he look like? Tyler. He looked like a teenager with dark green hair, bright emerald eyes, and that's all we know so far. As they all talk, all the energem that we all in the base started to glow and float away from the geos and fly away outside of the base. As the Rangers saw what was happening, they started to chase them all the way upstairs into the cafe to find Izuku drinking a strawberry shake with the energems floating around them. Izuku. So only 8 of the energems have been found, well 9 if you count the aqua energem, since it has been found thanks to the Ankylozord being awake. Looks like you need to find the aqua and silver energems to regain all 10, and it's nice to see you again, Keeper. Keeper. Yes, it's nice to see you again, my friend. Is it possible that you know where the last 2 are? Izuku. Sorry, I don't know where the silver is, but I have found the aqua energem, but the one who has it told me that he will show himself when the time is right. For the silver I can feel it, but it's too far away and it's off planet. Shelby. I'm sorry to stop you, but can you tell us who you were and how are you doing that to the energems? I thought that we were the ones bonded to them. Izuku. Yes, you are right, they are bonded to you, but to me as well, and by the way, my name is Izuku Yagi and I am not from this time and dimension, for the matter of fact. Kota. What does dimension mean? Morgan. It means he is not from our Earth or this reality, but that's not possible, science having explained that, but you are. Izuku. Now I think it's time to tell you my story. Time skip. Shelby. So what, you've been here since the dinosaurs and every ranger team before us? Izuku. Yes, I have pulse. When each team defeat their main enemy, I also receive my ranger powers back. From every time when a ranger gets like a upgrade, say a battleizer or a super mode, I get it as well, or for short you get strong, so do I. Tyler. That too much to think about, but how are you here now? Izuku. Just to talk, and now I have. I'll see you later. As I push my hand forward, giving their energems back, then disappearing using the black dino gem. Major time skip. After meeting the Dino Charge Ranger and seeing them full win and creating a new dimension when they went back in time. Now the Ranger team that I am watching right now, the Cosmic Fury team, getting away from the squid drones until Billy and a few past Ranger teams showed up and helped take down the army. When the Ranger team made it on their way back to Earth, I pulled up to Mucus and Slider and grabbed them both and teleported back to Earth and explained who I was, and when I finished telling them, the Comic Ranger made it back to Earth. When they were getting ready for the show, I was able to take to Billy after a few years of knowing him. Well, Billy only saw me a few times in the background and thought he was seeing things. Izuku. Hello Billy, it's nice to fully meet you. Billy. Hello to you too, but I have never met you before. What a minute, I think I know you, but I thought I was hallucinating back then. But then who are you and can you explain? Izuku. Sure, my name is Izuku and this is my story. Later. At the concert. Billy. Izuku, how will you get back home since your quest is now over, and I still can't believe that you were with all of us Rangers since the beginning, and it does explain what that voice was the day me and my team became Ranger. Izuku. I know, but for your question I have my full power back with a few extras. I can use my dimension portal gun after the show, but I want to say goodbye to all of you and I'm doing it in a bang. Billy. Okay, we will. Announcer. Alright, thank you Javi for your song. Now it's time for our last one tonight. As I got upstage and saw Mick, he was surprised and happy to see me, and I told him that I was going home, and Mick was sad but was really happy for me. As I told the Rangers about me, they gave me a hug goodbye since it's last time they're ever going to be a Ranger team that going to be needed. Izuku. Hello everyone, my name is Izuku Yagi and I have 3 songs for you Toti, and it's my last day here, so why not go out with a bang. Also I'm kind of rusty, I hope that you don't mind. As I said that, everyone got excited for my performance. As I turned my back away from the crowd, I pulled out my mystic morpher and cast a spell to bring my guitar to me, and when I got my guitar in my hands I smiled because it is the guitar that I won from that contest at the mall, and having it with me right back some memories, and once I'm done with these songs I get to see them again. Izuku. Okay, here we go. I remembered black skies, the lightning all around me. I remembered each flash, as time began to blur. Like a startling sign, that fate had finally found me. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve. So give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Give me reason, to fill this hole, connect this space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies. Across this new divide, there was nothing in sight. But memories left abandoned, there was nowhere to hide. The ashes fell like snow, and the ground caved in, between where we were standing. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve. So give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Across this new divide, in every loss, in every lie, in every truth that you deny. And each regret, and each goodbye, was a mistake too great to hide. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve, so give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Give me reason to fill this hole, connect this space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies. Across this new divide, across this new divide, across this new divide. Escape from the past that was stolen, and all your toxic fumes inhaled. The scapegoat of angels who've fallen. But my soul is not for sale. Even though you tore me up, left me with sores and blood. I was suffering. You could never break my will. It made me stronger still. I was smothering. Spent my whole life living underground. Foot on my back trying to keep me down. Come too far to turn back now. I am not afraid. I will keep the faith. Never back down. Till my dying day. Staring death straight in the face. I am not afraid. My life, my heart, my soul. I'm not afraid. My breath, my blood, my all. I'm not afraid. You thought you would always control me. You clipped my wings, my dreams in two. I guess that you don't even know me. 'Cause I'll never be like you. And even though the threat is real, my backbone's made of steel. I'm fine, suffering. And when the pressure's in my face, I'll never bow or break. 'Cause I'm not afraid. Spent my whole life living underground. Foot on my back trying to keep me down. Come too far to turn back now. I am not afraid. I will keep the faith. Never back down. Till my dying day. Staring death straight in the face. I am not afraid. I can't breathe. Smothering. I can't breathe. Spent my whole life living underground. Foot on my back trying to keep me down. Come too far to turn back now. I am not afraid. I will keep the faith. Never back down. Till my dying day. Staring death straight in the face. I am not afraid. My life, my heart, my soul. I'm not afraid. My breath, my blood, my all. I'm not afraid. I can't breathe. Smothering. I can't breathe. Izuku. Okay, this is my last song and it's for the Power Ranger from the first team since 1993 and all of the Ranger teams after them, ending with Cosmic Fury team. I hope you like it and I promise you something special will happen and all, so there will be different rhythm when I'm play each of the Rangers themes. I look at the Ranger and other and smile at them. As I started to play, my morpher started to glow rainbow as his realistic holograms started to play, showing each of the ranger routines being together and fighting each of the villains throughout the years. When that happened, everyone in the crowd, even the rangers, were surprised for the same what was happening in front of them. They saw every single ranger team from Mighty Morphin to now. When Billy saw what was happening, he was surprised and happy seeing his old team again with the holograms showing their battles. For the Cosmic Fury Rangers, they are surprised to see past Rangers' battles and as well as their own. As I stopped playing, everyone in the area were surprised and I morph into the Red Jungle Fury Ranger and summon Strike Rider. Just when he gets on it, I look at everyone and I gave them a wave goodbye as I drive straight into the portal going home. As it close behind me, I saw a view through a window in my world of what is going on, and I see that the Japan was under attack, and I see a bunch of different heroes on the ground hurt, taking people away from the fight, and seeing my mom about to be killed, and I decided to rush in and turn into a ranger to stop them from any more danger. When the portal opened from my side, I found myself on top of a building a few feet from where the monster was aiming for the finishing blow, and before he did, I took out one of my blaster and shot him. Minutes before, monster. Well, it seems that you heroes are ready to die and you can't stop us at all, and you don't even have your precious little ranger to stop me and the rest of us. All Might. Don't you are tall about my son, you monster. As she spits out blood and holding her side form before she times out. Monster. Well, why don't you join him then? As he was about to kill her, a blast shot Riken away, confusing everyone on the field. What the hell was that, and who did that? Izuku. I did. As he is wearing a hood and mask to hide his face and voice. Monster. Well, now in going to kill you, got any last words? Izuku. Yes, I do. Go Galactic. Just read. Izuku. Surprised to see me not die like you and the rest thought. When Izuku morph, everyone stopped and stared and started to cheer her because they can finally win, and for All Might she get to see her baby boy again and also alive, as she was crying tears of joy, and she still remember when she got to the USJ and was told the worst news she could ask for. Flashback. Silence, nothing but silence except one person that was crying, and that person was Izumi, because she had just confessed to Izuku that she was her younger sister, but Izuku just looked and smiled, telling her that he knew already. Then the portal closed and he was gone forever. As the Ranger villains started to celebrate that their thorn that was on their side is now gone, and they all left think of plans to control Earth. As they left, the LOV was just enjoying the show, but when they left they started to have fun and they were winning when the Nomu was beating the life out of Aizawa until the front door of the USJ was flung open and All Might came in and her smile was gone. When she entered, she got all of the students at the entrance and as well Aizawa and put her gently on the ground. When they were all on top of the stairs, she asked us where Izuku was, and when we told her, she lost all color to her face and her smile was gone. Shigaraki. The big bad boss came and play, but you were too late because the big cheater of a ranger is now gone and all there is now you, so Nomu go play with her and kill her as well. I want her head on a frame when we get back, and I wanted the ranger to, but too bad that he is dead. As All Might went toe to toe with the Nomu, she was starting to lose until Izumi and her friends came down to help her, and in the end the Nomu was punched through the dome of the USJ and out of sight. Nomu is the same, but everyone else is a girl. Shigaraki. No, you cheated. You were supposed to be weak, not strong. Now we will see each other soon. As they teleported away, All Might went to her knees and started to cry because from what everyone said, Izuku had died protecting Izumi and she has lost her smile that made her happy, and she had to put back on her fake smile again after so many years. It has been a whole month and the school sports festival in next week, and as she was getting ready for it, a loud explosion happened a few miles, and when she found one of Izuku villains were back, and when she fought it but almost died if it wasn't for that blast to happen. Flashback end. Monster. Enough of this, I'm going to end you like we did before, and this time you are going to stay dead. As they both fight, the news crew that was hiding in the background recording live like the vultures. They are having a good time and making everyone see that the ranger is back from the dead and defeating the monster that every hero had a hard time putting a few hits in like nothing, showing the power gap between them. Monster. I'm done playing around, time to take it to the next level. Izuku. This is going to be good. Izuku. Quick and easy. Now it's time to see mom again and tell her about my adventure that I had. I hope that she doesn't freak out from it. Wait, what am I saying? She is going to freak out and cough out the rest of her lung and spit up blood. Wait, am I still immortal? I'll find out later. Now time for a reunion. The moon. Cog. No, how can this be? He was supposed to be blasted into a different dimension and his morpher was destroyed. How is he back? He should be dead. Lord Zed. You fool and waste of junk, you promise all of us that he would be dealt with, but he is back and some reason he look more mature than he was when we sent him away. Trachina. He right when he defeated my monster to killed him with one hit, and it was the same way that the Lost Galaxy Ranger did. Avox. Flurious and Molter, what is wrong with you two? When we saw him win and made his debut again, you two look lost in thought. Care to share what you have to say? Flurious. Yes, I do. When we were able to stop the morphing grid for the Operation Overdrive Rangers, 5 Rangers from the past came and helped them and took over their spots until they were able to morph again. But Molter. When they brought the 5 Ranger, there was one more Ranger, but he looked different than the rest of them. He looked like a new Ranger that had a dino them one, but not sure what it was. He said something charge dark something, but before he morphed he had green hair. Snide. Wait, what did you say? He said charge and dark sledge, do you think? Sledge. Did this Ranger have a helmet with a dinosaur where its mouth is open showing its teeth and it had the dinosaur on the outfit? Flurious and Molter. Yes. Sledge and Snide. 11th Dino Charge Ranger. Lord Zed. How the Energems were not even found, and wait, don't tell me that blasted Ranger Izuku Yagi was there in our dimension. Master Org. So that explains it. When one of my orgs was destroyed by Wolf Zord, but as was a different kind than the main Wolf Zord that blasted Purple Wolf. Daishi. The Wolf Spirit Zord. Lord Zed. We must has a new plan that won't fail us. Now let's start. Ooh, hi. All Might. I miss you so much, and what had happened to you? I lost my smile and I never thought that I'll see you again. As she was hugging the life out of Izuku and crying tears of joy while Recovery Girl is doing a checkup on him. Izuku. I miss you too, and a lot has happened, and it's a lot. As he began to tell everyone in the room what had happened to him in his adventure that he went on. Nezu. Well, that is a lot to take in, but also thanks to this you have learned a lot from this and became even stronger. Now on to the other hand, the UA Sports Festival is coming up and I want you to be a part of it as a challenge to the students. Izuku. But what would be fine, but don't you think that it would be unfair to the rest of the students? I can transform into any ranger and will beat everyone one easily. Nezu. You are right about that, so I'm going to put down a rule for you, and that is you will only have one morpher, so nothing else, since we almost have all your ranger forms, so it will make it fair. Izuku. Okay, deal, but I will make it hard still. As they were talking, the door to the nurse office busted open and out came Momo, and Jiro came running in into the office and jumped onto Izuku crying. Momo. We were so worried that we will never to see you again. Jiro. Please don't leave us again, and you own us some time to be with you and as well as something else, and there is no say to it, mister. Izuku. Alright, deal, now let's go home because I have a loot to keep up on this last month that I've been gone. As they leave, we see everyone from Class 1A getting ready for the sports festival while we go to the beach and see Izumi on the sand with her phone with the news showing that the ranger was back in town. Izumi. Thank you for coming back, brother, and I want to hug you so much when I see you again. In the morning, sun spilled over the manicured gardens of the Yaoyorozu mansion, its light glinting off the polished stones of the training yard. Birds chirped somewhere in the tall hedges, but their peaceful song was drowned out by the sharp sound of wooden practice swords clashing. Clack! Momo stumbled back a step, panting, her bakken trembling in her grip. Across from her, Izuku stood calm and steady, the wooden blade resting lazily over his shoulder. Izuku. You're telegraphing your swings, he said, voice level but with that small smirk that made Momo grit her teeth. If I can read them, so can your opponents. From the side, Jiro called out, careful, Momo, if you swing like that in the sports festival, you'll be eating dirt before the first round ends. Momo shot her a glare. You're next, Jiro, let's see you do better. Jiro. Oh, gladly. As she cracked her neck and stepped forward, while putting down her phone and started to put on combat gloves. The moment Izuku nodded, she dashed in, her earphone jacks snapping forward like whips. Izuku started to dodge the first strike easily, then caught the second with a twist of his bakken, spinning the cord around it before giving it a small tug, enough to send Jiro off her balance, and as she stumbled forward, and he gently tapped her on the shoulder with the wooden blade. Izuku. Point to me, he said. Jiro groaned. Okay, but if I had my amps on, you'd be the one falling over. Izuku. Maybe, replied with a shrug. But that's the point, you won't have your full gear during the festival. This is about fundamentals. Speed, control, awareness. Not just all about your quirks, it's to be the last on standing. Momo wiped the sweat from her brow, stepping back into the circle. You make it sound like you've fought in 100 of these tournaments. Izuku chuckled, though there was a shadow in his eyes. More than you'd believe. When I was still hiding as a girl, I would secretly sign up to do them for some quick cash, and almost all of them didn't have rules. For a moment, the weight of his words hung in the air, as Izuku clapped his hands once, snapping the tension. All right, back to it. You two are going to run drills until your arms feel like lead. Then we move to dodging exercises. Juro. That sound like so much fun, she muttered, though a small smile tugged at her lips. They spent the next hour in constant motion, from striking, blocking, dodging, rolling. Momo's precision grew sharper, her footing lighter. Juro's speed started matching her timing, her strikes becoming harder to predict. Izuku moved between them like water, demonstrating techniques, correcting stances, forcing them to adapt under pressure. Finally, he called for a break, tossing each of them a water bottle from a nearby crate. Not bad. If you keep this up, you'll be ready to surprise a few people next week. Momo sat down on the grass, looking up at him. And you're entering too, right? Izuku. Yeah, as he said, twisting his bottle cap open. But with restrictions. Nezu doesn't want me steamrolling the competition, so I can only use one morpher, but he did not say which one, so I think I found a loophole in it. Juro smirked. Oh no, the poor immortal super fighter has to limit himself. Tragic. Izuku just laughed, leaning back on his hands. Trust me, I can still make it interesting. Later, the three of them sat on the grass in the wide backyard, drinking water and catching their breath. Momo was rubbing her wrists from all the parry drills, while Juro was sprawled out like she'd just survived a war. Izuku took one last sip from his bottle, then set it down beside him. His green eyes flicked between the two of them, a slow grin forming. You know, I was planning on saving this for later. But I think you two are ready to start something special. Juro cracked an eye open. Special, like you mean like more push-ups? Because I'm not sure my arms are still attached. Momo raised an eyebrow. What exactly do you mean? Izuku leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I'm talking about unlocking your animal spirits to making you more hard to beat. Both girls blinked at him. Juro. My what? Izuku. Animal spirits. It's an ancient fighting technique I learned from the Paiwa master when I went to the Ranger universe, and it's called the Order of the Claw. It's about tapping into the primal energy that connects you to the wild, to an animal that matches your soul. Once you find it, you can call on its strength, speed, and instincts in battle. Momo's curiosity sparked instantly. And you can teach us this? Izuku smiled. Not just teach, I'm a master. As he rolled up his sleeve where it showed a tattoo of claw marks on his upper arm. When I received the morpher, it just gave me the power, but when I went to their universe to get them back to come home, I went to the Paiwa and he trained me to help me unlock them and gain them back. Juro sat up, skeptical but intrigued. Okay, say I believe you. What's your animal spirit? Izuku's smirk deepened. He stood, walking to the center of the grass. Watch closely. He closed his eyes, breathing deep. The air around him seemed to still, and for a heartbeat there was only silence. Then, a faint shimmer rippled around his body. His posture shifted, predatory yet graceful, and behind him, a glowing, spectral animal of a red tiger, blue jaguar, yellow cheetah, purple wolf, white rhino, black lion, green chameleon, green elephant, blue shark and a black bat, red gorilla, a yellow penguin, and a blue antelope had materialized right in front of him, staring right at them. Momo's jaw dropped. Juro's mouth fell open. The animals started fading away, but the energy in the air lingered, making the hairs on their arms stand up. Izuku. That, or what animal spirit are, and they help me in battle from morphing into one of the jungle rangers, and they also turn into the Zords to help me as well. He glanced at them both. And with my help you can find yours. Juro blinked. Wait, you're serious? Izuku. As serious as it gets, and it won't be easy. You'll have to face parts of yourselves you might not like. You'll be tested, and you will fail before you succeed. But if you pass, he smiled. You'll walk into the sports festival with more than just your quirks. Momo nodded without hesitation. I want to try. Jiro sighed, but a grin tugged at her lips. Well, if Momo's in, I'm in. Besides, having a glowing animal spirit sounds pretty badass. Good, Izuku said, standing tall. Then starting tomorrow, your training changes. No more holding back. You're not just fighting to win a festival anymore. He turned toward the horizon, his voice dropping low. You're fighting to become warriors worthy of the wild. The moon. The cold surface of the moon glittered under distant sunlight, but deep inside the jagged black spire of Lord Zed's fortress, the air was thick with tension. The war room pulsed with the red glow of alien tech, its walls lined with jagged stone and humming energy conduits. At the center, the scrying orb floated above a claw-shaped pedestal, showing ghostly images of Izuku and of him training Momo and Jiro. Lord Zed's metal-plated fist slammed into the pedestal. This is unacceptable. It was bad enough the ranger returned from the dimension that we throw him in and now he is back and stronger than B, but now he is training his loved ones the power of the animal spirits. This is not good. Trakina. Relax, Zed. It's just two girls. How much trouble could they be? Daishi. Don't underestimate them, and if he's teaching others, their bond will grow faster than you and they can take out our minions and generals but will still have a hard time. Avoxes. Dangerous and unpredictable. Spirit energy doesn't follow the same rules as the morphing grid. Lord Zed rose from his throne. We have one chance to strike while their guard is down. I want a plan to be ready. Emperor Mavro. I got a plan and I need you all to give me around 15 of your best henchmen and I will bring in my best general to deal with Ranger and he will not be around for any longer since he is too busy dealing with one or the other. We will take those two girls and a few other. Since Cog plan failed last time we can make him our evil ranger like Rita did with their green ranger before they free him. Lord Zed. Yes, I like that plan and if we get him then we can rule this earth and it will be easy if we had that ranger on our side. Okay, get what you need ready and this better not fail or else. 1 week later, the UA Sports Festival had finally arrived like a storm. The stadium was alive with color banners fluttered, vendors shouted over the crowd, and families from across Japan poured into the stands, news channels coming in to broadcast the next set of heroes of the years to come and everyone else are eager to watch the next generation of heroes prove themselves. Cameras hovered on drones above the field, broadcasting every moment live. Outside the stadium walls, pro heroes in uniform patrolled the grounds. Their eyes scanned every shadow, every alleyway, their earpieces alive with chatter. For the public, today was a celebration. For the heroes, it was also a battlefield waiting to happen. None of them wanted to risk a repeat of the USJ incident. President Mike's booming voice carried over the speakers. Are you ready, Japan? The crowd erupted in cheers. Locker room Class 1A. Inside, the atmosphere was tense. Class 1A stood in their sports gear, stretching, adjusting uniforms, and trying to settle nerves. Hiroshima shadowboxed in the corner. All right. This is it. The perfect chance to show off what we can do. Uraraka laughed nervously, wringing her hands. Easy for you to say, so many people are watching us. Todoroki was silent, her eyes cold as he adjusted his armband. While Bakugo leaned against the wall, a feral grin on her face. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna crush every single one of them. This whole damn festival belongs to me. Todoroki said nothing, adjusting her armband with cold precision. And then there was Izumi. She sat on the bench between Jiro and Momo, tightening her gloves with quiet determination. Her green eyes reflected the fluorescent lights, but her expression was calm. She felt the weight of the moment, the noise of the crowd above, the presence of so many pros watching, but she also carried something heavier, the memory of what had happened to her brothers at USJ. Momo noticed her hands trembling slightly and leaned closer. Nervous. Izumi smiled faintly. A little. But mostly ready. Jiro smirked, nudging her. Good, just don't trip out there. Cameras don't miss anything. Before Izumi could retort, the door slid open and Idia. All right ladies, it's time to put in our all and show everyone here that we are here to show what we future heroines are made of, and it's time to move out because we have to be waiting in the tunnel 10 minutes before they can call us out. Now let's move. As she was waving her arms up and down the arena floor, the gates opened with a heavy rumble. Class 1A stepped into the blinding sunlight of the arena, the deafening roar of the crowd slamming into them like a wave. And here they are, folks, Class 1 AOFUA. Hi, that has survived a villain attack. Present, Mike bellowed. Banners waved high. Camera drones zipped in for close-ups. The crowd chanted and looking at them and picking which one is going to be their favorites. Izumi walked between Momo and Jiro, her chin high, her heartbeat quick but steady. She could feel the energy of the crowd, the sheer weight of expectation pressing down on her. But she didn't falter. Somewhere out there in the stands, she knew her mother was watching. And deep in her heart, she felt her brother's presence, like a silent hand on her shoulder. The crowd's roar grew louder. The festival had begun. The stadium's roar quieted as the spotlight shifted to the main stage. A hush fell over the crowd when a familiar voice rang out. "Alight, ladies." Present, Mike shouted. "Please welcome the one and only, the scandalous, the stunning, Midnight." The R-rated hero strutted across the stage, her whip trailing dramatically behind her as the crowd cheered and whistled. She flicked her hair back, her heels clicking against the stage floor as she raised the mic. The crack of her whip against the air silenced the crowd instantly as she raised the mic. Midnight smiled, her presence commanding all eyes. "Welcome, ladies. Before we begin, we have a tradition to uphold." As she purred, her eyes sweeping over the rows of gathered students. As tradition demands, the honor of giving today's pledge goes to the student with the highest score in the entrance exam. She smirked and extended a gloved hand. And this year, that student is Katsumi Bakugo. The crowd cheered, though a few murmurs rippled through at his rough reputation. Bakugo stepped out from the line of students, her expression twisted in that same wild grin that unnerved friend and foe alike. Her palms sparked faintly, tiny explosions snapping in the sunlight. She strode up the stage, grabbed the mic without hesitation, and scowled at the crowd. "I'll make this quick," she growled. "Listen up, I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to prove I'm the best. And I'll do that by crushing every last one of these extras beneath my feet." The stadium gasped. Some booed, others cheered at her raw confidence. Izumi, standing with her class, clenched her fists. "She's really going to declare war on everyone, huh?" she thought. But she couldn't deny something inside her stirred a fire to prove herself just as much. Uraraka groaned. "Seriously, that's supposed to inspire us." Todoroki only narrowed her eyes, silently accepting the challenge. Momo sighed, muttering to Izumi, "It seems subtlety isn't in his vocabulary." But Izumi smiled faintly, remembering the lessons her brother once told her. "It's not just about strength. It's about how you use it. I'll show them that." Bakugo slammed the mic back into its stand and turned away, his grin sharper than ever. Midnight only laughed, unbothered. "Well, that was fiery. Let's see if he can back it up." The crowd roared again, the tension spiking like electricity in the air. The arena was still buzzing with energy after Bakugo's fiery pledge. The students of Class 1A lined up at the starting gate, the crowd stomping their feet in anticipation of the first event. Midnight raised her whip, preparing to announce the start. "Now then, students, the first event of the festival is..." But all of a sudden the stadium speaker system started to make completely different sound like it was being interrupted, but then all of a sudden a different type of countdown started to play and everyone was confused except for Jiro and Momo because they had helped go over it, and some people in the crowd started to know what it was, but it was different than the one they have heard before. For the rest of the stadium did not know what it was until a certain word was said after the countdown finish. A sound that had echoed across the stadium like it was some type of big jet coming closer, and a big shadow started to form and was getting smaller as it was coming closer to the stadium, and when it was in full view everyone was surprised that a spaceship was hovering above the stadium. As the song was coming to a close, the hatch started to open and a red figure jumped out of it and landed onto the stage as dust came up into the air, and as the dust went away Stud was Izuku in his Space Red Ranger form posing for the crowd. The cameras zoomed in as he standing there as he put his arms down and started to glow red as he powered down. Clad in the UA sports gear, his green hair catching the sunlight, his eyes sharp and unwavering. The very same man the world believed had vanished into another dimension, the one they'd seen fighting monsters on secret news footage until 2 weeks ago when he returned. The crowd erupted in chaos. "Isn't that the Ranger? He's awesome. No way, look, it's him. Izuku. Sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't let this festival start without me." The silence that followed was deafening, then shattered as the entire stadium exploded into cheers so loud the ground seemed to vibrate. As the crowd's roar shook the very stadium, reporters leaned so far over their desks they almost toppled. Every camera in the arena zoomed in on the figure now striding across the field with unshakable confidence. That the Ranger was here at the festival and seeing him compete in it. Midnight, still standing at the podium, twirled her whip with a knowing smirk. Well, so you finally decided to join us. Izuku stopped at center stage, raising a hand to calm the crowd. His green eyes scanned the arena before he spoke, voice steady but with a hint of mischief. First off, sorry for the interruption. His lips curled into a grin. But I couldn't pass up the chance for a cool entrance. You only get one of those per lifetime, right? The audience laughed and cheered even louder. Midnight leaned toward him, her voice playfully sharp. You nearly gave half the heroes here a heart attack, you know. Care to explain why you're here instead of in the stands? Izuku nodded. Of course. Principal Nezu told me that I have to participate in the sports festival. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, and even some heroes gasped, but only under one condition. I can use just one morpher for the entire festival. He tapped the sleek phone-like device on his hands, the sunlight glinting off its polished surface. No other Ranger morphers, no switching mid-battle. One choice. That's it. The students of Class 1A blinked in disbelief. Kirishima muttered, wait, seriously? Just one. But he has, like, 100 forms. Bakugo's scowl deepened, her palms sparking. Ha, like it matters. Even with one, he thinks he can beat me. Bring it on, nerd. Izumi stood frozen in place, tears brimming in her eyes as she whispered under her breath. You're really back. Izuku smiled faintly at her before turning back to Midnight. So, if everyone's okay with it, shall we start the games properly? Midnight cracked her whip with a grin. Now that's the spirit. You heard him. Folks, the rules are set, and the Ranger himself is competing. Let the UA Sports Festival begin. The stadium exploded in cheers, louder than ever before. Every hero in attendance leaned forward, eager to see what Izuku would do, and whether the one morpher limit would make him weaker, or even more unstoppable. Midnight. So Izuku, what type of morpher are you going to use, and show it to the camera so we can make sure you stay true to your words, and if you do break it you will be kicked out from the festival altogether, you understand? Izuku. I understand, and I will pick a Ranger team that I haven't shown the public yet, so this is going to be a surprise. As he showed the camera the morpher he is going to use, as it was a black and red phone, what looked like some type of keyhole on top with what looks like a small Ranger in his other hand that looks like it has a key on the back. Midnight. And what Ranger form can this one do, if you don't mind me asking? Izuku. Nope, you got to find out during it, not its morphing time. Start from 17 to 32s. After he had finished morphing into a new Ranger that they have never seen before, the noise of the stadium was still deafening as Midnight leaned toward Izuku, one eyebrow arched and her whip dangling at her side. Well, handsome, she purred, since you're competing, I think everyone here deserves to know which Ranger team you've chosen. After all, she smirked at the cameras, fair is fair. The crowd leaned forward, every camera drone tightened its focus on Izuku. Izuku. Fair enough. Since I can only use one team for the entire festival, I chose one that's versatile, powerful, and able to adapt to anything thrown my way. He turned slightly so the crowd could see the morpher clearly. This is the power of the Super Megaforce Rangers. Gasps rippled across the stadium. Some of the older pro heroes stiffened, clearly recognizing the name. The reporters were already scribbling and shouting questions into their mics. Midnight tilted her head. Super Megaforce. Sounds flashy. Care to elaborate for the folks at home? Izuku gave a small grin. They were a team who carried the strength of countless Rangers before them. A team that could adapt their style for any battle, no matter the enemy. That's what makes them super. The crowd erupted again, cheering wildly, though Izuku's words only hinted at the truth. He didn't mention their ability to tap into every Ranger power of the past. That secret, for now, stayed with him. Midnight smirked, clearly picking up on his careful vagueness. Oh ho, keeping some cards close to your chest, are we? Izuku shrugged, casual but firm. A Ranger never shows his full hand before the fight starts. Bakugo growled from the line of students, fists sparking. TCH. Doesn't matter what team you're using, I'll blow it and you to pieces. Izumi clenched her fists, her chest tight with a swirl of emotions. Pride, relief, and the fire of competition all tangled together as she stared at her brother. All Might, up in the stands, wiped her eyes discreetly, smiling despite the tears. He's grown so much. Midnight cracked her whip once more, her grin sharp. Well, ladies, you heard it straight from the Ranger himself. One team, one morpher, one chance to prove himself against the next generation of heroes. The stadium shook with excitement. The obstacle race was moments away. The stadium was alive with fire. The roar of the crowd rattled the walls, echoing through every corner of the massive arena. On the field, Midnight raised her whip high, her voice booming through the speakers. All right, everyone, you've met the competitors, you've heard the pledge, and you've even had a surprise entrance. Now it's time for the first event. She snapped her whip, the sound cracking across the air like thunder. The obstacle race. The giant monitors lit up with a digital map of the course, a 4-kilometer track circling the stadium, filled with deadly challenges and more. As the students of all classes lined up at the massive starting gate, their breaths misting in the cool air. Izumi stood near the front, rolling her shoulders, eyes burning with determination. This is it, I'll prove I can stand on this stage. Beside her, Bakugo was practically vibrating with impatience, sparks flying off her palms. Todoroki was calm and unreadable as always, as her eyes are locked forward. Further down the line, Izuku in his ranger form, looking relaxed despite the storm of whispers and camera flashes focused on him. His calmness only made the other students more tense. Present Mike's voice thundered from above. Oh, boy, this is it. Class 1A, Class 1B, the general studies, and even support course kids, all ready to throw down. Midnight raised her arm, whip curling in her hand. On my mark, get ready. The crowd leaned forward, breath held. Begin. The gate exploded open. Hundreds of students surged forward in a tidal wave of motion. Dust flew, quirks activated instantly, and the race to glory had begun while in the back someone stay behind. Todoroki surged ahead immediately, ice spreading across the track as she froze an entire section solid. Bakugo blasted into the air, snarling as she shot past his classmates in a streak of explosions. Out of my way, extras! She shouted, laughing as he propelled himself forward. Izumi gritted her teeth and sprinted, weaving between Todoroki's ice and Bakugo's blasts, determination burning in her chest. I'm not falling behind, not this time. But as the camera drones swept across the field, one figure wasn't moving. Izuku. He stood at the starting line, arms crossed, watching the chaos unfold with calm eyes. Present Mike nearly choked on her mic. Wait, what? The Ranger isn't moving. Is this some kind of strategy? The crowd gasped, confused murmurs spreading. Izuku smirked under his breath. Let's see how far they get, before I join the party. He adjusted the Super Megaforce Morpher on his wrist, the device pulsing faintly with light, but still he didn't move. Heroes in the stands exchanged looks. Eraserhead narrowed her eyes. He's holding back on purpose. Testing them or testing himself. All Might, seated nearby, smiled faintly despite her nerves. That's my boy, always dramatic. Down on the track, students fought to get ahead, some slipping on Todoroki's ice, others barely avoiding Bakugo's explosions. Izumi pushed forward with grit, her breaths sharp, refusing to fall behind. And still, Izuku waited, like a wolf watching the herd run wild, biding his time until the perfect moment to strike. While on the track shook as dozens of students thundered forward, quirks flaring as they fought for position. The crowd screamed as Todoroki froze half the path, forcing weaker runners to scramble or slip. Bakugo as she soared overhead, explosions rattling the stands as she hurled insults at anyone behind him. Izumi clenched her fists, dodging an ice spike as she sprinted. I can't slow down now. I promised myself I'd fight with everything I have. Ahead, the course opened up into the first massive challenge, a wide canyon bridged only by jagged steel beams and crawling with combat robots from the entrance exam. Their eyes glowed red as they scanned the students, targeting anyone who dared step onto the beams. Present Mike's voice cracked with excitement. You look at that. Our first obstacle. A robot gauntlet across the steel pit. Who's gonna make it out alive? The students slowed, some trying to plan a way through, others charging headfirst. Bakugo she didn't hesitate, blasting herself onto the beams and laughing as robots lunged at her. Todoroki froze several in place, using her ice to carve a makeshift path. Izumi skidded to a stop, eyes darting between the chaos and her classmates. Robots again. Just like USJ, she muttered. Her heart clenched for a moment, memories of Izuku sacrificing himself flashing in her mind. She shook it off and charged. But just as the first wave of students clashed with the robots, then back at the starting line erupted in light. Dust and wind blasted across the field as Izuku finally moved, his boots pounding the ground like thunder. It's him. Present Mike roared. The Ranger is finally in the race. The crowd went insane, chanting his name. Izuku sprinted forward, his eyes locked on the obstacle that was ahead of him. As he ran, his press down on his belt and a key was in the slot and he grabbed it and twisted it onto the morpher at his hands. RPM get in gear. A flash of radiant light engulfed him, energy swirling into the form of a red and gold armored ranger. His visor gleamed as his saber materialized at his side. 2:45 to 3 o'clock. The explosion of light echoed across the stadium. The cameras zoomed in as his morphing sequence finished mid-sprint, as a sound of burring rubber was heard in a car driving by. Students who had already reached the obstacle froze in disbelief, staring as Izuku launched himself forward like a comet. Robots turned toward him, scanning, but they never stood a chance. Izuku's blade slashed once and a row of them crumbled in pieces before the others could react. The crowd screamed. Heroes in the stands leaned forward, jaws tight with awe. Azumi's breath caught in her throat as she ran, tears threatening at the corners of her eyes. That's my brother. And in the blink of an eye, Izuku stood on the steel beams with the rest of the frontrunners, his cool grin hidden beneath the gleaming visor. Now, he said calmly, saber resting on his shoulder, let's make this interesting. The crowd was still roaring from Izuku's sudden transformation when the Super Megaforce Ranger that had turned into the RPM Ranger leapt into action. As the robots swarmed the steel beams, swinging heavy arms at the students struggling to stay balanced. Kaminari yelped as one nearly knocked her off. Whoa. Izuku appeared in a blur, his saber flashing once. SHRRK. The robot split in half, sparks bursting as it collapsed. You're safe, Izuku said calmly, offering Kaminari a steady hand. Focus on moving forward. I've got your back. Kaminari blinked, then she grinned nervously. Gee thanks, man. Across the beams, another bot cornered Jiro, slamming its fist down. Izuku's had kicked the steel robot, carrying him across the gap in seconds. He caught the robot's punch with one armored hand, twisted, and hurled it into the pit below like it weighed nothing. Keep your rhythm, Jiro, he told her with a grin under the visor. Trust your balance. Don't rush this what I had trained you in Momo for. Jiro's eyes widened, but she nodded, pushing forward with newfound confidence. All around, Izuku moved like a storm, deflecting blows, cutting down machines, pulling students up when they slipped. Where Todoroki froze obstacles and Bakugo blasted them to pieces, Izuku guided others through, carving a safe path without slowing his own pace. Present Mike was losing his voice from excitement. Are you seeing this? The Ranger isn't just running, he's clearing the way for everyone else. This isn't a solo performance, this is a team battle. Heroes in the stands exchanged murmurs. Vlad King folded his arms. He's wasting time. This is a race. But All Might only smiled, eyes shining with pride. No, he's proving what kind of hero he already is. By the time most of the robots had fallen, Izuku had already sprinted past the steel beams. The final step echoed as he landed on the solid ground beyond, breathing steady as if the fight hadn't even warmed him up. The path ahead sloped downward, and there it was. The pit, a vast canyon stretched wide across the track, the kind of drop that would snap bones if anyone fell. Jagged outcroppings lined the walls, but no easy bridges or rails crossed the chasm. Just raw air. The crowd gasped as the frontrunners skidded to a halt at the edge. Bakugo growled, already charging explosions in her hands. Todoroki narrowed her eyes, ice creeping beneath his feet. Izumi panted beside them, her gaze darting between the gap and her classmates. And then Izuku stepped up behind them, his armored boots crunching against the dirt. He stared at the pit for a long moment, visor gleaming in the sunlight. "All right," he muttered, almost to himself. "Let's see who's brave enough to take the leap." From the pit yawned before the racers, wide and merciless. The first obstacle had already thinned their numbers, and now the second promised to do the same. Bakugo snarled, explosions snapping in his palms. "Tch, fine. If you extras can't keep up," she blasted forward, aiming to rocket across. Todoroki narrowed her eyes, ice racing outward from his feet, building a slick bridge that creaked under its own weight. Izumi clenched her fists, her body trembling as she tried to steady her breath. And then, Izuku stepped up, his visor tilted toward the gap, then toward the students hesitating behind them. With a flick of his hand, the Super Megaforce key glowed before he swapped it out for a golden yellow one shaped like an eagle's head. He raised the morpher to the sky. "Wild access." Gasps swept the stadium. Present Mike nearly fell out of his chair. What? He changed again. From pirate to some type of racer. Is that a bird? Smentos leaned forward, stunned. "No. That's not just a bird, and from the design it looks like some kind of eagle." Izuku looked back at his classmates, voice steady but full of energy. "Don't just stare at the pit. Look around. Sometimes the answer isn't about crossing the ground, it's about finding new ways to cross what's in front of you." With a powerful leap, his golden wings snapped open, and he soared high above the canyon, sunlight flashing off his armor. The wind whipped past as the crowd roared in shock and awe. Students below stared, mouths open, but Izuku wasn't just flying for himself. He dove down toward the group still frozen at the edge. Zero slipped, her foot crumbling the dirt beneath her only to feel strong armored hands catch him mid-fall. "Got you." Izuku's wings flared, carrying them both upward. He set Zero safely on the other side, then turned back. "Come on. Trust me." One by one, he swooped down, grabbing the hands of those who couldn't make it. Hagakure, Mineta, who screamed the whole way, and even Shoji carrying two others at once. Each trip made the crowd wilder, the camera crews zooming in on the golden streak cutting through the sky. Finally, Izuku hovered above the pit, wings glowing like fire as he locked eyes with Bakugo, who was struggling to keep control of his explosive flight. Bakugo snarled, Don't look down on me, damn it." But Izuku only smirked beneath the visor. "Not looking down. Just watching you push yourself. That's the difference." With that, he shot across the last stretch, landing softly on the far side, wings folding with a shimmer of light. The announcers erupted. "He's turned this race into a rescue mission. The Eagle Ranger soars again, and the festival is on fire." The pit was no longer a death trap. It had become a stage, and Izuku had claimed it. The roar of the crowd echoed across the stadium as students began to regroup from the pit. Bakugo was still fuming, Todoroki's ice path cracked in half behind him, and Izumi was panting but smiling faintly. Her brother's display had lit a fire in her chest. But ahead of them, the ground shimmered. A vast stretch of dirt lay between them and the finish line, but it wasn't empty. Signs marked the edge with a bold warning. "Caution, minefield." The spectators leaned forward, hushed with anticipation. Present Mike's voice boomed over the speakers. "And here it is, folks. The final stage before the finish line, the legendary minefield. Traps everywhere, ready to blow these young heroes sky high if they slip up." The frontrunners skidded to a halt at the edge. Bakugo grit her teeth, sweat dripping down his face. "Tch, as if this crappy setup's gonna stop me." Todoroki's eyes flickered, calculating his approach. Izumi tightened her fists, determination burning through her nerves. But Izuku, he walked right to the front, his suit glow yellow before turning back into his Red Ranger form. His boots stopped just before the first glowing patch of dirt. The crowd went silent. Slowly, Izuku raised his visor toward the stadium. "This isn't just a race. It's a battlefield. And a battlefield isn't about who runs the fastest. It's about who survives, and who you bring with you to the end." He dropped into a ready stance, his eagle visor gleaming like fire. "I'll clear the way, but it's up to everyone else to prove they can follow it." Gasps rippled through the students. Even the pro-heroes in the stands were struck silent by his boldness. Midnight leaned forward on the announcer's area, smirking. "He's not just competing, he's performing." Students from other classes who were behind him whispered among themselves. Some glared in jealousy. Others clenched their fists in admiration. Izuku's armored fingers brushed over his belt, hovering near another ranger key. "All right," he muttered beneath his breath. "Time to show them how a ranger moves through the fire." With that, he took his first step into the minefield. Click. The crowd held its breath. Click. The faint sound echoed in the silence of the stadium. Then, boom. A thunderous explosion ripped through the ground as fire and smoke shot into the sky. The blast rolled across the arena, shaking the stands. Students screamed, covering their faces from the shockwave. Izuku! Izumi shouted from behind, her heart stopping. When the smoke cleared, the crowd gasped. He was still standing. Izuku's golden armor was gone, replaced by a sleek jet black suit lined with white diamonds. A black helmet gleamed under the sunlight, the visor shaped like the wild, sharp features of a mastodon and holding what looks like some type of axe. Present Mike's voice cracked in disbelief. What is this? Did he just morph again? Smintasa's eyes widened. Black Mighty Morphin. Izuku dusted off his armored shoulder, unfazed by the crater beneath his boots. His voice rang out, calm but commanding. These mines are traps meant to scare you into freezing. But a trap loses its power when you face it head on. He stomped forward again. Click. Another mine erupted, fire swallowing him whole. And again, when the smoke cleared, Izuku stood tall, the black armor glowing faintly with power. He turned his visor toward his classmates, his tone sharp but encouraging. "I'll trigger the path. All you have to do is run it." Gasps spread among the competitors. Even Todoroki's expression flickered in shock, while Bakugo growled low in her throat, fists trembling with rage. Damn it, he's making it look easy." Izuku stomped again, deliberately setting off another explosion. His figure emerged like a shadow through the smoke, unstoppable. Each step cleared more ground, and soon a jagged, half-destroyed path began to form across the minefield. The audience erupted, heroes whispering in awe. Aizawa, watching from the stands, tightened his scarf. He's not just showing power, he's showing strategy. All Might's hand curled into a fist, her eyes misting. "That's my boy." Izuku raised his hand and pointed forward, his black visor flashing. "Move. Don't hesitate. I've got this." Behind him, one by one, students began to charge into the path he was carving, trusting that the Black Ranger would keep them safe. And with every step, every explosion, Izuku walked through fire like a hero born for the battlefield. The ground shook with each mine Izuku triggered. Explosions tore through the arena, but the Black Bison Ranger kept marching forward, unstoppable, clearing a jagged but safe path for those behind him. Students followed in his wake, feet pounding the dirt. Confidence spread. If Izuku could carve through fire, they could make it too. But then, FWOOOOSH. A massive wall of ice raced forward, sealing off half the minefield in seconds. Todoroki glided smoothly across her own frozen bridge, eyes calm, her pace far ahead of Izuku's. "Don't slow me down," Todoroki muttered as she passed, his frosty breath hanging in the air. The crowd erupted. "Incredible. Shoto Todoroki, using his quirk to freeze his own highway across the minefield." Present Mike shouted, voice breaking. "She's taking the lead." Izuku stopped mid-step, visor gleaming through the smoke. Then a thunderclap boomed. BOOOOM. Bakugo rocketed over the craters, explosions propelling him like a missile. Her face twisted with a furious grin. "Out of my way. This is my win." He blasted past Izuku in an eruption of sparks, tearing across the remaining mines with sheer force. Gasps filled the air. Two rivals had surged ahead, leaving the Black Ranger behind. But instead of chasing, Izuku straightened slowly, his dark armor gleaming like steel in the firelight. His voice carried across the field, cold and commanding. "So, you think you can just pass me?" The air around him seemed to thrum with power. "Then here's my challenge." He slammed his armored fist into the dirt, another explosion bursting behind him. "If you want to get past me, prove you deserve it. I won't move aside. I'll test every single one of you." The students skidded to a halt, startled. Even those who had trusted him hesitated at the sudden shift. His black visor gleamed as he pointed at the path ahead. "This minefield isn't your real obstacle. I am." The stadium erupted in cheers, the crowd chanting wildly as Izuku planted himself like a wall in the middle of the chaos. From the announcer's booth, Midnight smirked. Ooh, he's flipped the game. Not just racing, but challenging. And in the stands, Nezu's eyes glimmered with intrigue. Yes, let's see how the students adapt to a true ranger trial. Izuku spread his stance, smoke curling around his black armor. Come at me with everything you've got, or stay behind as he got in front of the two. Izuku planted himself firmly in front of the students, his boots digging into the dirt of the minefield. Smoke curled around his black armor, and his visor gleamed like obsidian. The crowd went silent. Even Bakugo and Todoroki skidded to a halt at the edge of the minefield, suddenly realizing this wasn't just a simple race anymore. Izuku raised his black power axe high. Energy pulsed along the blade. With a mighty slam, the weapon hit the ground, cracking the minefield dirt in a spreading web of fissures. Sparks flew, dust choked the air, and several hidden mines detonated harmlessly beneath the fractured ground. Let's see what you've got, he said, voice calm but commanding. Endurance and creativity. The minefield is still dangerous. But how you get past me? That's on you. With a swift swing of the axe, laser-like blasts shot from the blade, slicing through the air toward anyone daring to charge forward. Sparks and light flashed in the stadium, illuminating the terror and awe on the students' faces. Azumi's eyes widened. He's not just a wall, he's a moving battlefield. Kaminari ducked low as a blast whistled past her. See, come on. Think. Students began to scatter, using acrobatics, quirks, and teamwork to find paths through the fissured minefield while dodging the laser blasts. Momo created shields using her ingenuity to block blast from debris, creating protection for her classmates. Todoroki paused, analyzing the pattern of Izuku's swings, then created ice ramps at precise angles to slide past without triggering mines. Bakugo snarled, blasting toward Izuku with raw power, only for the Black Ranger to slam his axe into the ground, fissures splitting beneath her. The blast knocked Bakugo off balance, forcing her to use rapid explosions to regain footing. Izumi gritted her teeth, feeling adrenaline pulse through her veins. If he can do all that, then I can do this. She leapt from a broken piece of dirt, sliding along Todoroki's ice ramp, narrowly dodging a laser shot. Izuku stepped forward again, the ground shattering with each axe strike, laser shots blasting toward anyone trying to sprint blindly. Keep moving, keep thinking, he called, voice echoing across the stadium. If you can adapt and survive, you'll make it through. The crowd was on its feet, cameras zooming in on every split-second dodge, every clever maneuver. Heroes leaned forward, whispering in awe. Present Mike screamed into the mic, nearly losing his voice. This is insane, folks. The Black Ranger is turning this obstacle race into a true test of skill. Endurance, creativity, and pure nerve. Can they make it through? Izuku's wings flared faintly as he moved, still in the minefield, laser shots flashing, ground splitting under each strike of his axe, forcing the students to think, leap, and improvise. And through it all, the Black Ranger remained steadfast, the ultimate living obstacle. The minefield was chaos. Students dodged laser blasts, leapt over fissures, and balanced on precarious patches of dirt. Izuku moved like a living wall, axe swinging, ground splitting, lasers firing, testing every ounce of endurance and creativity in anyone who dared approach. Azumi's eyes scanned the ground frantically. Her chest heaved. Think there has to be a way to get past him. Her gaze fell on a discarded metallic shield lying near a detonated mine. The edges were scorched, but it was sturdy. A plan sparked in her mind. Quickly, she gathered the remaining mines near the edge of the pit. Carefully, she piled them atop the shield, forming a makeshift explosive ramp. Okay. This has to work, she muttered, gripping the shield tightly. Izuku swung his axe again, fissures splitting the ground around him. One laser shot whistled toward her. She ducked just in time. Taking a running start, Izumi leapt onto the shield, using the force of her jump and the explosive charge beneath her. Boom! The shield blasted upward, throwing her high into the air like a projectile. Sparks flew in every direction as the crowd gasped. Is she flying? What is happening? Present Mike shouted, nearly falling out of his seat. The blast propelled Izumi across the minefield, her body soaring over the Black Ranger. Laser blasts missed her by inches, fissures crackling below. Izuku watched, visor reflecting her golden brown hair as she passed. He smirked beneath the helmet. Impressive. Creative thinking. That's how you survive. Azumi's feet touched solid ground beyond the pit of mines, rolling to absorb the impact. She shot the shield off to the side, leaping to her feet immediately. Her heart raced, exhilarated. The crowd erupted into cheers. She did it. She passed the Black Ranger. Present Mike shouted, voice cracking. Even the pro heroes in the stands leaned forward, impressed. All right, All Might whispered, fist clenched, she's got spirit and brains. Izumi looked back at Izuku, who had already returned to a ready stance in the middle of the minefield, axe raised, waiting for the next challenger. You're really something, she called out as she started to run to the end. Izuku's visor glinted in the sunlight. And that's why you made it past me. Well done. Azumi's feet pounded against solid ground beyond the minefield. Her chest heaved, sweat glistening on her forehead, but adrenaline propelled her forward. The crowd's cheers echoed in her ears as she spotted the finish line in the distance. She gritted her teeth. I'm not letting anyone catch me now. Izuku, still in his Black Ranger form, watched her dash ahead. For a moment, he admired her determination. Then, with a swift leap and powerful burst, he took off after her, running like a shadow slicing through the air. Not bad, he muttered under his visor. But I'm not letting you have this one easily. Behind them, the rest of Class 1A pushed themselves harder than ever. Bakugo's explosions launched her forward in short bursts of incredible speed to try and pass them, and Todoroki glided smoothly over patches of terrain, calculating every step to stay in contention. Present Mike shouted at the top of his lungs, almost losing his voice. And they're off. Izumi takes the lead, followed by the Black Ranger himself. Bakugo is coming in hot, and Todoroki is right behind her. This is the most insane finish to the obstacle race we've ever seen. Azumi's legs burned, but she didn't slow. Every stride brought her closer to the checkered line. Her mind flashed briefly to her brother, the same brother who had guided her through the minefield, and a surge of determination filled her. Izuku's boots struck the ground, fissures splintering under each step, his black suit gleaming as he accelerated. He matched her pace, closing the gap slightly, but never cutting her lead completely. Bakugo snarled, blasting herself forward with raw power. TCH. First place isn't going to last long. Todoroki's eyes narrowed, ice forming beneath his boots, pushing him forward with careful efficiency. I'll take fourth, for now, he muttered, scanning the terrain. The crowd roared as the four racers tore across the final stretch. Dust and debris clouded the finish line. And then, with one final push, Izumi lunged forward, crossing the line first, arms raised in victory. The audience erupted into deafening cheers. Izuku followed closely behind, landing gracefully as the second finisher, his armor shimmered. Bakugo slammed into the line third, sparks flying from exhaustion and frustration, while Todoroki slid in fourth, breath steady but eyes glimmering with determination. Present Mike was nearly incoherent with excitement. Unbelievable. First place goes to Izumi, followed by the Black Ranger himself. Bakugo takes third, and Todoroki is fourth. What a finish, ladies and gentlemen. This is heroics at its finest. Izumi gasped, chest heaving, but turned to see Izuku approaching. She smiled through her exhaustion. You didn't just let me win, did you? She asked, breathless but beaming. Izuku lowered his visor slightly, smiling beneath it. I didn't need to. You earned it. That's the way a true hero finishes a race. The crowd's chants grew louder, Izumi, 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 as she stood victorious, while Izuku's shadow fell beside her, proud and unshaken. As the rest of the students came running in, Izuku glowed black, and he was now back into his normal self in his UA sports cloths, waiting for the next event. As the rest of the students finally stumbled, blasted, or glided past the finish line with some on their way, the dust of the obstacle course began to settle and finally be over with. Izuku's Black Ranger form flickered for a moment, then, in a heartbeat, it started to glow black and white, then it changed back into the Red Ranger form, and the way he was breathing steadily as if he hadn't just torn through an entire minefield and become a new challenge in the end of the race. Izumi watched him, still catching her breath, but smiling proudly. Izuku gave her a small nod, quietly acknowledging her victory as the crowd continued roaring her name. Up in the stands, Present Mike was practically vibrating with excitement. What a start to the UA Sports Festival. And remember, folks, this is only the first event. Our aspiring heroes are just getting warmed up. The giant screens flashed as Midnight stepped forward, cracking her whip for attention. All right, competitors, congratulations on completing the first event, she announced, her voice amplifying across the stadium. But don't get too comfortable yet, and now it's time to move on to the next event. And trust me, the next challenge is going to test more than just your legs. A ripple of anticipation ran through the crowd. Izumi wiped her forehead, straightened up, and glanced over at her brother. You ready for whatever comes next? She asked. Izuku looked at her through his helmet, rolling his shoulders as the last of the participants cleared the course at last. Always, he said, calm but energized. Beside after that minefield, there's nothing they can throw at us that'll feel harder, but maybe who knows. Bakugo clicked her tongue, sparks popping around her palms as she stalked up beside them. Don't get cocky. The next event is where I take the lead. Todoroki approached quietly, cool air drifting off her. We'll see. The stadium lights dimmed for a moment. The massive screens flickered again, now showing bold text. Next event is the cavalry battle. Gasps and murmurs erupted from the stands and students alike. Izumi felt her stomach flip. A cavalry battle, already. Izuku exhaled slowly, eyes sharpening with focus. The festival isn't pulling punches this year, he said. But haste sounds fun but trouble for others. Midnight strutted onto the stage, cracking her whip as the crowd roared. All right, my little fledglings. She purred through the speakers. For our second event, we'll be doing a cavalry battle. The students muttered and buzzed just like in the show, some excited, some terrified. Midnight raised a hand for silence. Now listen up. The rules are simple, so don't whine to me later. Each team will consist of 2 to 4 people, and you'll all be forming your own little cavalry squads. One rider, the rest of you act as the horse. She tapped her display remote and the big screen behind her lit up. Your headband point value is based on your placement in the obstacle race. But, she paused dramatically, our first place runner, Izumi Midoriya, will be a surprise in a bit, so better get ready because it is big. Gasps erupted across the field. Izumi froze in place as nearly every head whipped toward her. Midnight smirked knowingly. Oh, don't give me that look. You earned first place, darling, enjoy the spotlight. She continued, voice smooth but firm. Midnight. The goal is simple, steal other teams' headbands. You may use your quirks, but no attacks meant to seriously injure someone will be tolerated. If the rider touches the ground, that team is out, and the team with the most points at the end of the time limit wins. She cracked her whip again, electricity buzzing through the crowd. Midnight. You've got 15 minutes to form your teams. Choose wisely. Strategy matters more than brute force. With a final wink, let the chaos begin. Azumi's heart began to pound again, not from running, but from the sudden wave of excitement and nerves. Izuku stepped beside her, offering a reassuring smile. Izuku, let's see what we can do together. And with that, the crowd roared once more as the competitors began to move, the arena shifting into a chaotic scramble of strategy, alliances, and tension. The first event was over. The true competition was only just beginning. The arena buzzed with frantic energy as students scrambled across the stadium floor. Some called out names, some ran in circles, and some like Bakugo simply shouted threats until partners formed around her out of sheer survival instinct. Midnight's voice echoed overhead. Remember, teams can be 2 to 4 members. Choose wisely because your point values will determine who everyone is hunting. Izumi swallowed hard. This is going to get complicated. Izuku frowned thoughtfully, already analyzing the numbers flashing across the screen. Yeah. The top 42 advance, but the top scorer becomes the prime target. The board lit up. First place, Izumi Midoriya, 10 million points. The entire stadium went silent for a heartbeat. Then, what? 10 million? No way. She's dead. Whoever teams with her is insane. Azumi's face drained of color. That's a lot of zeros. Izuku placed a hand on her shoulder. You earned it, and you're not facing it alone. She looked up. Izumi. You mean? Izuku nodded once. I've already got a team in mind. And I want you with me. Before she could respond, Momo approached with her usual calm composure. Izuku, Izumi, if you're forming a group, I'd like to join you. She smiled confidently. My creation quirk can provide support gear, mobility, and defense. Plus I wanted to be with you since we are dating. Jiro jogged up next, earbuds swinging. Yeah, count me in too. You guys are gonna be the #1 target. Someone needs to keep you from getting stomped. Plus same with Momo. Izuku crossed his arms, thinking it through. Momo. Versatile support, battlefield control. Jiro. Precise tracking, awareness, sound disruption. Izumi. Raw determination, mobility, strong quirk. And me. His lips curled into a small grin. Perfect, he said. That makes 4. Izumi's shoulders relaxed in relief. Thank you. All of you. Jiro smirked. Just don't get all emotional. We're about to be chased by the entire stadium. Momo adjusted her hair tie. I'll begin preparing equipment immediately. Izuku nodded. Right, we'll meet by the far corner to strategize. Let's move. And Momo, Jiro, remember of what I had trained you for, but don't show that. The 4 of them regrouped in the quietest corner they could find. Izuku folded his arms. All right, listen up. With Izumi being 10 million points, we're the main target. Everyone will come for us. Izumi nodded nervously. Izuku continued, voice steady. Momo, I'll need gear. Support braces, stabilizers, and something for mobility. Jiro, you'll be our radar. If anyone sneaks up on us, you'll know first. Izumi, stay with me. I'll be the front horse while Momo and Jiro will be the sides and you will ride Izumi. And if anyone gets close. He smirked. They'll regret it. Momo raised a hand politely. There's one question left. Izuku, you said earlier that you can only do one morpher and from the past event you can turn into the other teams for the entire festival. But does that come with any downfalls? Izumi looked at him too. Yeah. Which ranger form are you going to choose for this round and does it come with downsize? Izuku tightened his gloves, eyes narrowing with quiet determination. That depends, he said softly, on who I pick. They won't have that ranger team's special powers, but I can still use other things. The stadium lights dimmed once more, and every student turned toward the center stage as Midnight strutted forward, hips swaying confidently. Her whip cracked through the air with a sharp snap, immediately silencing the remaining chatter. Midnight. All right, listen up my darling first years. Her voice boomed across the arena, echoing through the stands. The giant screens flickered to life behind her, displaying bold, stylized text. Cavalry battle. Event rules. Midnight held out one gloved hand and began her explanation. Rule number 1. She pointed dramatically at the students. Teams may consist of 2 to 4 participants. The fewer teammates you have, the more mobility you gain, but a bigger team gives you stability. Choose wisely. Most students nodded, already forming their groups. Rule number 2. She snapped her whip again. Each team will wear a headband worth points, tied directly to your performance in the first event. The scoreboard lit up, showing dozens of point values. From across the arena, the 10 million headband glowed like a beacon. Izumi shrank a little. Why does it have to glow? Jiro patted her shoulder. You're the main course, deal with it. Midnight continued. Rule number 3. Your goal is simple, steal your opponent's headbands. She made a grabbing motion with her free hand. Whatever you take, you keep. Your team's total score is equal to all headbands in your possession. Students murmured nervously at that. Every team was fair game. Rule number 4. Her smile widened. Quirks are allowed, but obviously, no killing, blinding, crippling, or maiming. You're training to be heroes, darlings, not villains. Bakugo snorted. TCH. That's boring. Izuku muttered under his breath. That limit might actually save some people. Izumi nodded vigorously. Rule number 5. Midnight raised her hand, 5 fingers displayed. The event lasts 15 minutes. When time's up, your team's final point total determines whether you advance. A giant timer appeared above the arena. 0 hours 15 minutes and 0 seconds, counting down but paused at 0. Finally, Midnight leaned forward, voice dripping with anticipation. And one more little twist. The top scoring student from the first event. she gestured dramatically toward Izumi, will be worth a whopping. The crowd chanted along with her. 10 million points. Izumi froze, swallowing hard. Izuku stepped forward solemnly, placing a steadying hand on her shoulder. We've got this. Juro smirked. Yeah, let them come. Momo nodded with serene confidence. I'll create everything we need. Midnight straightened up, raising her whip high into the air. Teams, finish preparations. You have 1 minute before we begin. The arena exploded into frenzied movement. Izuku turned to his team. Let's get ready. The air buzzed with electricity. Teams assembled in tense formation across the arena, dust swirling around their feet. Izuku, Momo, Juro, and Izumi stood in the center of their designated quadrant, 4 silhouettes against a sea of competitors hungry for 10 million points. A massive drumroll vibrated through the stadium speakers. Midnight raised her whip. Ready. Izumi tightened the 10 million headband on her forehead, heart hammering. Set. Izuku glanced at each teammate. Momo, focused. Juro, already bouncing on her toes. Izumi, determined, but nervous. He gave her a reassuring nod. Remember the plan, and whatever happens, stay calm. Izumi swallowed. Right, big brother. Midnight cracked her whip so hard it echoed like thunder. Goo. The arena exploded into motion. Dozens of teams surged forward instantly, shouting, sprinting, using quirks, clawing for advantage. The ground shook with so many feet thundering toward the same target. Their target. Izuku spoke calmly, as if this weren't dozens of future pro heroes charging directly at him. Get ready. Momo and Juro braced themselves as Izuku lifted Izumi into the rider position, supporting her steadily. Juro extended her ear jacks outward like sensors. They're surrounding us, she warned. Left, right, front, everywhere. Izuku nodded. Just like we expected. Team after team funneled toward them like a tidal wave. Tetsu's team charged straight ahead, bodies of steel glinting. Mineta's team zigzagged erratically, trying to flank them. Kendo's team marched as a tight tactical unit. Mei Hatsume rode on someone's back shouting, target locked. As gadgets whirled around her, Todoroki's team advanced with icy calm, cold mist curling around them. And from above all at Izuku's team, Azumi's eyes widened. This is insane. Izuku cracked his knuckles. Don't worry, let them come. Boom. Bakugo's team blasted forward so hard the arena floor cracked. Out of my way, that 10 million is mine. Izuku tilted his head. Juro, signal. Juro smirked. Got it. Her ear jacks stabbed into the ground, sending a wave of shock pulses rippling outward. The approaching team stumbled as vibrations jolted their balance. Perfect, Izuku said calmly. Momo. Now. Momo summoned a metal circle, and within seconds produced a shield. She expanded it with a flick. Thunk. Boom. Crash. It absorbed 3 attacks at once. Izumi clung to Izuku's shoulders, amazed. You all built a whole formation. Izuku grinned. Yep. Now it's time to change it up for a bit. As he hits the button on his belt to get a new key out and morph into Green Mystic Force Ranger. As he did, the crowd cheer for the ranger showing off his modes. Izumi. Izuku, why did you change into that ranger form? Aren't you missing something? Momo. Yeah, you're missing that ranger morpher so you can do anything with his special power of his. Juro. Isn't that the on that can do magic? Izuku. Yup, but the spells will be weaker, but I can still do the spells, but I have to say the name of it. As they were talking, Tetsu lunged from the left. Kendo swung her enlarged fist from the right. A pair of support students were in front. Izuku moved and said finishio, and suddenly he wasn't there. The tree teams all stop and wonder where they went until they look behind them as they saw Izuku and his team spawn behind them. The crowd went wild wondering what had just happened. Then a sudden cold wind swept across the battlefield. Frost crept along the ground toward Izuku's team. Juro shivered. Ah, she's going big. Izuku exhaled softly. So she's done watching. Todoroki raised her left hand. Ice spiraled outward in jagged waves, aiming to freeze the entire formation under Izuku. Izumi gulped. If that hit, Izuku bent his knees. Then I'll break it. Gojika. A big ball of energy came out front of Izuku and went straight to Shoka Ice. Crack. Boom. Shards exploded into a glittering snowfall. Even Midnight stumbled back. What power? Todoroki narrowed her eyes. This is going to be harder than I thought. The first wave stalled. Everyone hesitated as they realized they couldn't just rush Izuku's team. Not with him guarding Izumi. But the battle was far from over. Izuku looked over his shoulder at Izumi. You ready for the second wave? Izumi nodded, adrenaline firing through her veins. Let them come. Time skip. The battlefield became absolute madness. The minutes blurred by as the cavalry battle raged across the arena. Different teams collided, having their headbands flashed through the air as points were stolen, lost, and reclaimed again and again. With explosions thundered, ice cracked and the only team with support items shattered under pressure. Present Mike's voice echoed non-stop through the stadium. Points stolen. Team having trouble. What a save. The lead on a roll. At the center of the chaos, Izuku and his team remained unshaken from what's going on around them. He moved with his team with a calm precision, adjusting his position with every attack, never panicking and never overcommitting. With Jiro's ear jacks warning them of ambushes seconds before they happened. Momo replaced broken shields and restraints mid-battle, creating new equipment on the fly. Izumi stayed balanced atop their shoulders, gripping tightly as they carried her through the storm. More than once, teams nearly ripped the 10 million point headband away. Mei Hatsume teamed up from above only for Izuku to use a spell to force them to miss by inches. Another group rushed from the side, only to be stopped cold by Momo's reinforced barriers and Jiro's sonic blasts. Bakugo's team clashed with them repeatedly. Explosions slammed against Momo's defenses while Kirishima tanked hits head-on. Kaminari nearly tagged Izumi once, but Jiro disrupted his aim at the last second. Todoroki's team reshaped the battlefield entirely at one point, freezing massive sections of the arena and forcing dozens of teams to reroute or crash spectacularly. The scoreboard flickered constantly as points shifted. Then all of a sudden, a horn blared across the stadium. The massive timer overhead snapped into focus. 3 o'clock. 3 minutes remaining. The noise in the stadium dropped for a heartbeat before exploding again. Midnight's voice cut through the tension, sharp and electrifying. Only 3 minutes left. This is the final push. The scoreboard updated. Izuku's team, Izumi 10,01, 205 points. Bakugo's team 9,050 points. Todoroki's team minus 12,505 points. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Izumi tightened her grip. They're all going to come for us again. Izuku nodded slowly, eyes scanning the battlefield. They have to, he said calmly. This is their last chance. Across the arena, something shifted. Teams stopped fighting each other. One by one, they turned. Toward Izuku. Toward Izumi. Toward the 10 million points. Bakugo cracked her neck, explosions flaring brighter than before. Todoroki stepped forward, ice and flame swirling together in controlled balance. Present Mike shouted, his voice hoarse with excitement. This is it. 3 minutes left and every team is aiming for the top. Can Izuku and his team hold on until the end? Izuku lowered his stance, planting his feet firmly. All right, he said, voice steady despite the pressure. Final phase. Izumi swallowed, heart pounding, but she smiled. Let's finish this. The air grew heavy, and then the final charge began. Teams surged forward all at once, abandoning caution in favor of desperation. Ice slammed into the ground. Explosions detonated in rapid bursts. Support items flew through the air as dozens of students aimed for one thing. Izumi's 10 million points. Coming in from the left. Jiro shouted. Izuku moved instantly, pivoting as Momo formed a reinforced arm guard along his forearm. A charging team slammed into the shield and bounced away, skidding across the dirt. Another group tried from above. Izuku ducked, spun, and used their momentum against them, sending them tumbling past as Izumi held tight. 2 minutes. Present Mike roared. Bakugo came next. Her explosions thundered as she launched straight toward them, Kirishima bracing her midair. Move. Bakugo snarled. Izuku met her head-on. Izuku. Gojika, as the power ball launched to Bakugo head-on. The impact shook the ground. Shockwaves rippled outward as Momo's defenses cracked and Jiro staggered, barely keeping balance. Izuku slid back several feet but didn't fall. Still standing. Bakugo grinned ferociously. Good. She blasted upward again. But Todoroki cut across the field, an ice wall erupting between them and splitting the charge in half. "This ends now," Todoroki said, flames rising on one side, frost spreading on the other. The battlefield turned into a storm. Izuku felt the pressure mounting. 1 minute. Present Mike screamed. Izumi clenched her fists. "They're not stopping." Izuku's eyes sharpened. "Then neither will we." At 30 seconds, Izuku made his choice. He stomped the ground hard. Momo's last creation locked into place as Jiro sent out a wide sonic pulse, staggering every nearby team at once. Izuku surged forward, not retreating, they were advancing. He weaved through ice and explosions, forcing attackers to react instead of attack. Bakugo nearly reached Izumi once more, but Izuku twisted at the last moment, throwing her trajectory off just enough. Todoroki tried to freeze the ground beneath them. Izuku team jump. They sailed over the forming ice as the crowd screamed. 10 seconds. Present Mike shouted. They landed hard while sliding on the ice. When they stopped, the team had planting their self like a wall. No one got past them, and then the buzzer sounded. A deafening horn echoed across the stadium. Midnight raised her whip high. "Time's up." The battlefield froze. Breathing hard, dust-covered, and exhausted, Izuku's team stood unmoving. The scoreboard locked. Izuku's team, Izumi, 10,120,000 points. Todoroki team, 12,740 points. Bakugo's team, 9,710 points. For half a second there was silence. Then the stadium had erupted. Present Mike screamed into the mic, barely coherent. "They did it. Izumi's team holds the 10 million until the end. That's a win for Team Izuku." Izumi finally let go, sliding down as her legs gave out. We won." Izuku caught her before she fell. "You did," he said, smiling softly. "All of you." Bakugo clicked her tongue, hands on her knees. "TCH, next time." Todoroki exhaled slowly, eyes thoughtful. "So that's your style." Midnight stepped forward, grinning. With that, the cavalry battle concludes. Advancing to the final event, the tournament round. The crowd roared again as the winners were announced. Izuku looked up at the stands, calm despite the chaos, already thinking ahead. One event down, one left to go, and the real fights were just beginning now. The roar of the crowd slowly faded as the students were guided off the battlefield. Smentos came in and starting to repairing the torn-up arena while medics checked over exhausted competitors. Izumi sat on the grass near the tunnel entrance, towel draped over her shoulders, still trying to catch her breath. "I can't believe we held it," she muttered. Jiro let out a tired laugh, collapsing beside her. "Barely. My ears are still ringing." Momo adjusted her gloves, posture composed but eyes shining with relief. "Your balance was incredible, Izumi. You stayed steady the entire time." Izuku stood a few steps away, arms crossed, watching the arena reset. Despite the exhaustion in his muscles, his expression was calm, focused. "You all trusted each other," he said. "That's why it worked." Izumi looked up at him and smiled. "We trusted you." Nearby, Bakugo stormed past, clicking her tongue in irritation, while Todoroki walked silently with his team, already lost in thought. Above them, the crowd buzzed with excitement, replaying the final moments on massive screens. Then a deep horn echoed throughout the stadium. Midnight's voice rang out, smooth and commanding. "Ladies and gentlemen, heroes and future heroes, this concludes the first half of the UA Sports Festival." The screens shifted, showing highlights from the obstacle race and the cavalry battle, explosions, ice walls, sonic blasts, and Izumi crossing the finish line and Izuku in his ranger's forms. The students will now be given a half-time break before we begin the final and most anticipated event, the one-on-one tournament battles. The crowd erupted again. Izumi swallowed nervously. "One-on-one." Jiro stretched her arms. "Guess there's nowhere to hide now." Momo nodded. "Every match will be a test." Izuku glanced at them, his voice steady. "You've already proven yourselves. Now it's about how you fight alone." The stadium lights dimmed slightly as the screens displayed the tournament emblem, music building anticipation. Present Mike practically shouted from the booth. "Don't go anywhere, folks. After the break, we're going full battle mode." Izumi clenched her fists, heart pounding, not with fear, but excitement. This wasn't just a festival anymore. This was where heroes were truly made. Later President Mike had called out, "All students head to your assigned seating area." Groups of students of that were in the last event and others began moving at once to their class spot. Class 1A filtered toward the tunnel leading back into the stadium stands, chatter filling the air as nerves and excitement mixed together. Izumi adjusted her sport jacket and followed with the others, eyes drifting toward the massive arena ahead. That's when she felt it. A light tap on her shoulder. She turned and saw Izuku standing there, already half turned away, Momo and Jiro beside him. "Seats first," Izumi asked quietly. Izuku shook his head, lowering his voice. "Change of plans. Halftime doesn't run itself." Jiro smirked. "Told you we wouldn't just be sitting around every time." Momo checked the hallway instinctively, then nodded. "Everything is prepared. We just need to retrieve it." Around them, students hurried past, focused on their own matches, their own worries. No one spared the group a second glance. "Perfect." Izuku stepped back as the flow of students split around them, then smoothly turned down a side corridor that was one marked that said authorized staff only. Momo followed without hesitation. Jiro slipped in last, hands in her pockets, ears twitching slightly as she listened for anyone nearby. The hallway door closed behind them with a soft click. Izumi paused at the main tunnel entrance, looking back once more, but then she sees that the seats were filling fast, the noise of the crowd swelling again. She didn't notice them vanish. High above, the stadium screens flashed highlights. The audience cheered, unaware that something was already being set in motion behind the scenes. Down the quiet corridor, Izuku walked with purpose. "All right," he said calmly, "let's get everything ready." Jiro grinned. Time to give them a halftime they'll never forget. The UA Sports Festival rolled on. But under the stadium, something big was about to happen. The stadium was bright as ever from the sun shining down on them started to go away because the stadium dome was starting to cover it up. When it finished, the stadium lights turned on and starting to dim slightly, and the massive screens shifted away from match replays. A familiar, booming voice blasted through the speakers. "Yo, you listen up, ladies and heroes." President Mike leapt into view on the big screen, microphone gleaming, her grin stretched ear to ear. "This year's UA Sports Festival is gonna hit a little different." The crowd stirred, murmurs rippling through the stands. "Before we continue," President Mike continued, pointing dramatically, "any students, staff, or stragglers who haven't made it to their seats, get moving now. You've got 5 minutes." A countdown appeared on the screens. Students hurried, ushers waved people along, and the noise slowly settled as the timer ticked down. Cameras panned across packed stands, anticipation thick in the air. 5 minutes later, beep, the timer hit 0. President Mike straightened, his voice rising again. "All right, everyone's set, and now for the fun part." Spotlights swept across the arena floor as the stage equipment began to rise from beneath the stadium, lights, speakers, and platforms locking into place. "This year's halftime event will be..." He paused for dramatic effect. "A live concert." The stadium erupted. Cheers, screams, applause, and some students nearly jumped out of their seats. "And that's not all," President Mike added, laughing. "After the concert, we're ramping things up. The one-on-one battles to see who is the strongest." The screens flashed colorful icon symbols, markers, and challenge indicators spread across a map of the stadium. Midnight's voice slid smoothly into the speakers, playful and teasing. "Think fast, move faster, and work together," she purred. "Because prizes will be on the line, and yes, they will affect the tournament." That got everyone's attention. Izumi blinked, leaning forward in her seat. A concert, and a scavenger hunt. Jiro, missing from the stands, would have been smiling. Bakugo scoffed loudly. "TCH, like I care." Todoroki tilted her head slightly, watching the stage assemble. This wasn't on the schedule. President Mike threw her arms wide. "So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready, because halftime at UA is about to go plus ultra." The lights cut, music hummed faintly through the speakers. And somewhere behind the stage, everything was finally ready. Then the stadium plunged into darkness. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then, flash, blinding white lights snapped on all at once. The massive screens zoomed in on the center stage. Standing front and center was Izuku. His guitar hung from his shoulder, fingers resting calmly on the strings. He stood before a microphone, sports jacket traded for a sleek performance outfit, expression focused but relaxed like he belonged there. The crowd froze. Behind him was Jiro sat at a full drum kit, sticks spinning once before snapping into her grip, a confident grin on her face. To the side was Momo stood behind a polished keyboard setup, backing equipment arranged perfectly, her posture elegant as always with her eyes sharp, ready. For a second, the stadium was completely silent. Then, wait, is that? Present Mike's voice cracked through the speakers, disbelief clear even for him. Ladies, am I seeing things? Or is that Midoriya, Jiro, and Yaoyorozu on stage? The crowd exploded. Students leapt to their feet. Pro heroes stared in shock. Cameras swung wildly, trying to capture every angle. Azumi's eyes widened from her seat. Izuku. Izuku leaned toward the mic, fingers brushing the strings. Thanks for waiting, he said, voice steady, carrying across the arena. We figured, halftime should be fun. Jiro tapped her sticks together. 1, she said. Momo's fingers hovered over the keys. 2, Izuku smiled faintly. 3, the first chord rang out, clean, powerful, echoing through the stadium. The crowd screamed. Lights pulsed to the rhythm as the UA Sports Festival transformed, just for a moment, from a battlefield into a stage, and the concert began. The cheers slowly settled as Izuku lifted one hand, signaling for quiet. The stadium hushed. Thousands of eyes locked on the stage. Izuku leaned closer to the microphone, fingers resting on his guitar strings. Before we start, he said, voice calm but carrying, we want to tell you why we chose these songs. He looked out over the stadium, at the students, the pros, the cameras, and the sea of faces watching him. This song, Izuku began, his voice steady but sincere, isn't just something we picked because it sounds cool. The noise in the crowd faded. The big screens zoomed in, showing Jiro resting her sticks on her shoulders and Momo standing poised at the keyboard. It's about standing up when you feel weak. About being scared and choosing to move forward anyway. Izumi felt her chest tighten as she listened. Izuku's fingers brushed the guitar strings once, not playing yet, just grounding himself. When I was gone, he continued, there were times I thought I wouldn't make it back. Times I didn't feel like a hero at all. Jiro leaned forward slightly, resting her sticks on her shoulders. But that's the thing, she said. Heroes aren't fearless. They're just the ones who keep going. Momo smiled softly, hands resting on the keys. This song reminds us why we chose this path, why we keep fighting, even when it hurts. Izuku looked up again, meeting the crowd's gaze. So this one's for everyone here who's trying to become something better. Even if you don't feel like it yet. A pause. Then he spoke the title clearly. Hero. A murmur rippled through the crowd, recognition spreading fast. It's not about being perfect, Izuku said. It's about choosing to fight anyway. Even when you're scared, even when you're hurt. Izumi felt her chest tighten from her seat. That song, she whispered. That's him. Izuku looked out over the stadium one last time. This one's for anyone who's ever doubted themselves. He gave a short nod. Jiro clicked her sticks together once, sharp and loud. Momo's fingers lowered onto the keys. The lights dimmed to a deep red and gold. And then, the opening beat hit, heavy, driving, powerful. Izuku's guitar roared to life, the sound rolling through the stadium like thunder. Jiro slammed into the rhythm, drums pounding with raw force, while Momo's keyboard layered the sound, lifting it higher. When Izuku strummed, the sound hit like a wave. Not flashy but determined. He leaned into the mic and began to sing, his voice raw but controlled, carrying emotion instead of perfection. The song built with every measure, the beat pushing forward like a march, like a promise. I'm just a step away. I'm just a breath away. Losing my faith today. We're falling off the edge today. I am just a man. Not superhuman. I'm not superhuman. Someone save me from the hate. It's just another war. Just another family torn. We're falling from our faith today. Just a step from the edge. Just another day in the world we live. As the music surged, the stadium lights dimmed further until the massive screens flickered to life. The first image filled the arena showed All Might. Not in a dramatic pose but standing between civilians and danger, bloodied yet smiling, one arm raised as if to say it's going to be okay. The crowd erupted instantly. Izumi felt her throat tighten. On stage, Izuku's fingers moved faster, his guitar crying out with power as the image faded. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save my life. A hero'll save me just in time. The screen shifted. Her flames roared behind him as she stood firm against an overwhelming blaze, heat warping the air around her bloody face. She didn't look proud, she looked determined. Focused. Burning forward no matter the cost. The beat hit harder. I've gotta fight today. To live another day. Speaking my mind today. My voice will be heard today. I've gotta make a stand. But I am just a man. I'm not superhuman. My voice will be heard today. Hawks. Her wings spread wide as she dove through the sky, catching a falling civilian midair, feathers scattering like embers. Her eyes were sharp, calculating, yet gentle as she guided them to safety. Cheers rippled through the stands. It's just another war. Just another family torn. My voice will be heard today. It's just another kill. The countdown begins to destroy ourselves. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save my life. A hero'll save me just in time. Then the screen softened. Recovery girl. No battlefield. No explosions. Just her giving a kiss and it healing as she tended to an injured student, her expression tired but kind. The camera lingered on her smile, warm, uncelebrated. The music dipped, then rose again. I need a hero to save my life. I need a hero just in time. Save me just in time. Save me just in time. Who's gonna fight for what's right? Who's gonna help us survive? We're in the fight of our lives. And we're not ready to die. Detective Tsukauchi appeared next, standing in a dim interrogation room, coat draped over her shoulders, eyes steady as she listened, really listened, to someone in pain. Not a fighter. Still a hero. Who's gonna fight for the weak? Who's gonna make 'em believe? I've got a hero. I've got a hero. Living in me. I've gotta fight for what's right. Today I'm speaking my mind. And if it kills me tonight, I will be ready to die. A hero's not afraid to give his life. A hero's gonna save me just in time. The final image split the screen into three. A firefighter, hauling someone from a smoke-filled building. A police officer, standing firm between danger and a frightened crowd. A paramedic, kneeling in the rain, hands shaking but steady as they worked to save a life. No quirks, no fame, no applause, just people choosing to act. On stage, Izuku stepped closer to the mic, voice carrying weight, not volume. Jiro's drums thundered like a heartbeat. Momo's keys lifted everything higher, brighter. The message was unmistakable. Heroes weren't just the strongest. They were the ones who showed up. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero to save my life. A hero'll save me just in time. I need a hero. Who's gonna fight for what's right? Who's gonna help us survive? I need a hero. Who's gonna fight for the weak? Who's gonna make 'em believe? I need a hero. I need a hero. A hero's gonna save me just in time. As the final images faded showing all of the heroes that was on the screens went dark once more and the crowd rose to its feet in unison, applause crashing through the stadium like a wave. Izuku held the last chord, letting it ring. Then he looked out at the audience and gave a small nod. This, he said quietly, is what it means to be a hero. And the UA Sports Festival had never felt more alive. Then for a heartbeat after the final chord faded, the stadium was completely silent. Then the crowd exploded. Thousands of voices rose at once, cheering, shouting, crying. Students stood on their seats, waving their arms, some chanting Izuku's name, others just screaming in pure excitement. This is insane, someone yelled. I've got chills, another shouted. Cameras swept across the stands, catching wide-eyed faces, clenched fists, and tearful smiles. All Might stood frozen in her seat. Her hands trembled slightly as she lowered them to her chest, eyes shining. The smile on her face wasn't forced. It wasn't heroic. It was proud. You've grown so much, she whispered. Somewhere in the stadium, Endeavor said nothing. Her stared at the darkened screen, jaw tight, flames unusually low. For once, there was no anger, only reflection. So that's what they see, she muttered. High above, Hawks leaned forward in her seat, wings twitching unconsciously. She let out a low whistle. Dang. Kid knows how to hit where it counts. A small grin tugged at her lips. Recovery girl was in the med bay for the event and started to dab at her eyes with a handkerchief, pretending not to notice anyone watching. He remembered, she said softly. He remembered all of us. Nearby the stadium, Detective Tsukauchi folded her arms, exhaling slowly. That wasn't for show, she said. That was real. Her gaze sharpened. That boy understands what heroism actually is. In different parts of the city. In a fire station miles away, a couple firefighters stood in front of a mounted TV, helmets resting on the table. Quote. He showed us, she said quietly. Around her, the room fell silent as the others were happy to be seen. A police officer watching from a patrol car clenched his fist, nodding once. Guess someone sees us after all. In a hospital break room, lots of paramedic and doctors leaned back in their chair, eyes wet, smiling despite herself. Didn't think a festival would hit this hard, she murmured. But, thanks, kid. Stadium. The applause didn't stop. Present Mike wiped at her face, voice breaking for once. Wow. Sorry, folks, gimme a sec. Midnight crossed her arms, smiling warmly. Well, she said, that set the bar. On stage, Izuku stepped back from the mic, breathing steady but heart-pounding. Jiro exhaled hard. Okay. Yeah, worth it. Momo smiled softly, hands still resting on the keys. They heard us. Izuku looked out over the crowd, over the heroes, the workers, the students and felt something settle in his chest. Not pride, but purpose. The UA Sports Festival wasn't just about strength anymore. It was about why they fight. And everyone felt it. The cheers slowly faded as the lights dimmed again. This time, they didn't come back bright. They returned in cold blues and harsh whites, cutting across the stage like fractures. Izuku didn't speak right away. He adjusted the strap of his guitar, eyes lowered, expression more serious than before. This next song, he said quietly into the mic, is about the space that forms when trust breaks, when expectations crush you, and when you're forced to become something new just to survive. The stadium leaned in. Jiro rolled her shoulders, grip tightening on her sticks. Momo took a slow breath, fingers hovering over the keys. It's called New Divide. A low electronic pulse hummed through the speakers. Then, the beat dropped, sharp, relentless. Jiro's drums snapped like gunfire, echoing across the stadium. Momo's keyboard layered distorted tones that felt fractured, like something breaking and rebuilding at the same time. Izuku's guitar cut through it all, aggressive and raw. The screens ignited again. This time, the images weren't heroic poses. They were conflict. I remembered black skies, the lightning all around me. I remembered each flash, as time began to blur. Like a startling sign, that fate had finally found me. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve, a city scarred by battle. Students training until they collapsed. Heroes arguing behind closed doors. A lone figure standing between light and shadow. So give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Give me reason, to fill this hole, connect this space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies. Across this new divide, the music pressed forward, heavier with every second. Izuku stepped closer to the mic, voice carrying strain, not weakness, but truth. The sound wasn't comforting, it was challenging. The crowd didn't cheer, they watched, felt it. There was nothing in sight. But memories left abandoned. There was nowhere to hide. The ashes fell like snow. Bakugo's eyes narrowed from the stands, arms crossed. Todoroki stared silently, breath slow, jaw set. Izumi felt her chest tighten. Quote. This is him, she whispered. This is what he went through. On screen, the divide widened. Heroes on one side, villains on the other, students caught in between. And the ground caved in. Between where we were standing. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve. So give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Across this new divide, in every loss, in every lie, in every truth that you deny. And each regret and each goodbye was a mistake too great to hide. And your voice was all I heard. That I get what I deserve. Then the visuals began to change. Hands reaching out, walls cracking, light bleeding through the fractures. Momo's keys shifted upward, Jiro's rhythm steadied, Izuku's guitar soared not softer, but stronger. So give me reason, to prove me wrong, to wash this memory clean. Let the floods cross, the distance in your eyes. Give me reason, to fill this hole, connect this space between. Let it be enough to reach the truth that lies. Across this new divide, across this new divide, across this new divide. The message was clear, you can't erase the divide. But you can cross it. As the final note rang out, the lights snapped off completely. Silence. Then the screens faded to black. When the lights returned, Izuku stood still, breathing hard, sweat glistening under the stage lights. For a moment no one spoke. Then the applause hit not wild like before, but deep, thunderous, respectful. This wasn't just a song. It was a confession and the stadium felt it. For several seconds after the last note faded, the stadium didn't move. No cheers, no shouting, just thousands of people sitting in stunned silence. Then the crowd began to react not all at once, but in waves. Some students lowered their heads, hands clenched tightly in their laps. Others looked at the screens as if expecting the images to return, as if they hadn't fully processed what they'd just seen. A few clapped, then more. Soon the applause spread, but not explosive, not wild, but heavy, deliberate, and unbroken. The kind of applause meant for something that mattered. This one hit different, someone whispered. I didn't know a song could feel like that, another said. Bakugo didn't scoff this time. She stared at the stage, jaw tight, eyes sharp but quieter than usual. "TCH, she muttered. Idiot. But she didn't look away. Todoroki's gaze followed Izuku closely, expression unreadable. So that's the weight he carries, she thought. Even the pro-heroes sat straighter now. This wasn't a performance anymore. It was a statement. For Izumi hadn't realized she was crying until a tear hit the back of her hand. She stared at the stage, chest tight, vision blurring. Every image, every beat, every crack of sound, it all felt too close. That's not just a song, she whispered, voice shaking. That's you. Her fingers curled into her sleeve as memories flashed through her mind. The day he disappeared, the fear, the silence, the month where everyone told her he was gone. The divide. She pressed her hand to her chest, trying to steady her breathing. You didn't say any of this, she whispered. You never said how much it hurt. On stage, Izuku stood still, head slightly bowed, as if he could feel her gaze from across the stadium. For a moment, their eyes met. Just briefly. Izuku didn't smile. He gave her a small nod. And that was enough. Izumi wiped her eyes quickly, straightening her back. You're not alone anymore, she said firmly, even though he couldn't hear her. Not ever again. The applause continued, filling the space where words failed. And as the lights shifted, signaling the final song ahead, the crowd understood something important. This wasn't just halftime entertainment. This was a hero sharing the weight they carried and trusting the world to listen. The applause slowly faded as the lights warmed with soft whites and golds washing over the stage. Izuku lifted his head and stepped back up to the microphone, a small smile breaking through the seriousness from before. All right, he said, voice lighter now. This last song is different. The crowd quieted immediately. It's not about fighting, Izuku continued. And it's not about standing alone. Jiro leaned back on her drum stool, relaxed now, a grin tugging at her lips. Momo nodded slightly, already adjusting the keyboard settings. This song, Izuku said, raising his hand and gesturing to the stands, only works if you're part of it. A ripple of excitement passed through the stadium. It's called Radio Gaga, and there's a part where the band stops, and you take over. The screens lit up with simple visuals, hands clapping in rhythm, waves moving together. Izuku lifted both hands above his head. When I do this, he explained, you clap. Don't think. Just feel it. Everyone together. Present mic practically vibrated in the booth. Oh, this is gonna be good. Jiro tapped her sticks lightly, setting a steady beat. Momo's keys hummed, bright and upbeat. Izuku strummed, and the song began. The mood changed instantly. Lighter, uplifting, alive. Students swayed, heroes smiled, Even the most serious faces in the stadium softened. I'd sit alone and watch your light. My only friend through teenage nights. And everything I had to know. I heard it on my radio. You gave them all those old-time stars. Through wars of worlds, invaded by Mars. You made 'em laugh, you made 'em cry. You made us feel like we could fly. So don't become some background noise. A backdrop for the girls and boys who just don't know or just don't care. And just complain when you're not there. You had your time, you had the power. You've yet to have your finest hour. Radio, radio. Then Izuku raised his hands high above his head. For half a second, the crowd hesitated. All we hear is radio ga ga clap, clap, perfectly in time. Radio goo goo clap clap, radio ga ga clap clap. All we hear is radio ga ga clap clap. Radio, blah blah clap clap. Radio, what's new? Radio, someone still loves you. Louder this time. Thousands of people, students, heroes, civilians, moving together as one. Izumi stood up without realizing it, clapping overhead, laughing through lingering tears. That's it, Izuku called out, voice warm. You've got it. The band pulled back, letting the crowd carry the rhythm. The stadium became the instrument. Clapping echoed off the walls. The beat rolled like a heartbeat shared by everyone present. Jiro laughed as she played, shaking her head. This is unreal. Momo smiled openly now, eyes shining. They're all connected. Izuku looked out over the sea of raised hands. No divisions, no rivals, no fear. Just people, together. We watch the shows, we watch the stars. On videos for hours and hours. We hardly need to use our ears. How music changes through the years. Let's hope you never leave, old friend. Like all good things, on you, we depend. So, stick around 'cause we might miss you. When we grow tired of all this visual. You had your time, you had the power. You've yet to have your finest hour. Radio. All we hear is radio ga ga clap clap. Radio goo goo clap clap. Radio ga ga clap clap. All we hear is radio ga ga clap clap. Radio goo goo clap clap. Radio ga ga clap clap. All we hear is radio ga ga clap clap. Radio blah blah clap clap. Radio, what's new? Clap clap. Radio, someone still loves you. Loves you. Oh, as the song built toward its end, Izuku lifted his hands one final time. The clapping thundered. Then on cue the music snapped to a clean finish. The lights burst bright, and the stadium erupted. Cheers, applause, whistles, laughter, pure joy crashing over the arena. Izuku stepped back from the mic, breathing hard, heart full. Quote. Thank you, he said simply. And for the first time that day, the UA Sports Festival didn't feel like a competition at all. It felt like a celebration. When the final chord faded, the stadium didn't just applaud, it erupted. Students jumped to their feet, clapping wildly, chanting, some stomping in rhythm with the echoing beat. This is amazing, someone screamed. We're part of it, another shouted, arms raised high. People who had been sitting quietly before now joined in the rhythm instinctively, clapping along even as the band stepped back. A group of first years huddled together, laughing and cheering, waving their arms like they were on stage themselves. Some of the older students, even Bakugo, couldn't help but grin, clapping sharply, tapping their feet to the rhythm. Todoroki's eyes softened, her hands tapping the seat in front of her in quiet time with the crowd. With All Might's smile was huge, eyes sparkling with pride. She raised her hands and clapped along, almost bouncing in his seat. You see that, she whispered to herself. That's the spirit of heroism. Endeavor's arms were crossed, but her jaw relaxed. The rhythm of thousands of claps seemed to reach her somehow. Not bad. He really knows how to reach people, he muttered quietly. Across the city, in living rooms, fire stations, police cars, and ambulances, to even building with the TV that was watching the event. From the firefighters raised both hands, clapping to the rhythm, eyes wide. They're all in sync. To the police officers laughed aloud, head thrown back. I didn't think a concert could feel like this, like we're part of it. The paramedic nodded, hands still moving, a smile breaking across her tired face. He's giving hope, not just showing off. Everyone's a part of this. Even the most serious heroes felt it, the connection, the joy, the energy radiating through the music. Through live broadcasts and streaming feeds, it echoed across the city. People walking down streets, waiting at crosswalks, or riding trains suddenly slowed. Phones were lifted, heads turned toward screens in shop windows, taxis, and billboards. The claps from the stadium somehow seemed to resonate beyond the speakers, making the city itself feel alive. Families stopped, pointing at their TVs. Students paused on sidewalks, leaning into screens, hands in the air, mimicking the rhythm. Even office workers poked their heads out of windows, smiling, laughing, clapping along. The moon. High above, on the moon, the villain lair screens flickered with the live feed. Lord Zed leaned forward, cracking his fingers slowly, eyes narrowing. "What is that?" he hissed. "That blasted ranger. Even now, he's able to control the people." Trakina stopped pacing. Her arms dropped to her sides as she stared at the broadcast. He's doing it again," she muttered. "Even through music, even through cheer, they follow him." Cog tilted his head. "How can they be so captivated, while we're plotting?" Avox, Org, and Dishi glanced at each other, uneasy. None of them spoke at first, just watched. Their usual bickering was gone, replaced with silence. The screen showed Izuku raising his hands in perfect rhythm, thousands of students clapping in unison. The villains didn't move. They didn't issue orders. Even their own minions paused, mesmerized by something they couldn't fight or destroy. "Impossible," Lord Zed whispered. Even our power can't touch this." As he starts to plan seeing new to get his revenge and try to destroy the Ranger again. Stadium. The energy from the stadium surged outward, touching every corner of the city. Izumi, still seated, realized the full effect of what her brother had done. "He's not just performing," she whispered to herself. "He's uniting everyone, even them." On the streets, people clapped along, some laughing, some shouting, all participating in the rhythm. The city itself seemed to breathe with the music. And for a moment, even the villains, their plans, their anger, their plots, were paused, unable to interfere with the joy Izuku had created. The power of music, heroism, and connection was undeniable. Concert ends. The final chord of Radio Gaga reverberated through the stadium one last time. Izuku let his hands fall from the guitar, taking a slow breath. Jiro dropped her sticks onto the drums, letting the echoes fade. Momo's fingers lifted from the keys, the last notes lingering in the air like sparks. The crowd erupted again. Cheers, whistles, stomps, and claps rolling like waves through the stadium. Students jumped, high-fiving neighbors, hugging friends. Pro heroes in the stands clapped vigorously, some standing, some leaning forward with proud smiles. Even the city outside seemed alive, every screen in shop windows and public spaces showing the concert feed, people clapping along, cheering. Izumi wiped at her eyes, heart still pounding. He really did it. Present Mike's voice cut through the roar. "All right, folks, that's the concert done and dusted. But don't think we're done yet. Let's get ready for." He leaned closer to the mic, voice cracking in excitement. "The one-on-one battles." The stadium lights dimmed again, leaving only the center stage and the massive screens glowing brightly. Present Mike practically bounced onto the platform, energy crackling through the speakers. "All right, ladies, students of UA," he shouted, voice echoing through the arena. "The tournament bracket has been revealed, and now, it's time for the next phase." The crowd erupted immediately, cheering, stomping, and waving their arms. "One-on-one battles," Present Mike roared, throwing his hands high. "One hero against another. Skills, strategy, power, and heart, everything counts." The screens behind him shifted, highlighting a countdown timer and flashing the first pair of combatants. Midnight stepped forward, calm but commanding, her voice carrying clearly. "Competitors, prepare yourselves. The first matches will begin shortly. Remember, the battles are not just about strength, but creativity, skill, and quick thinking. Give it your all." The crowd screamed again, this time louder, more focused. Students in the arena began stretching, bouncing on their feet, adrenaline surging as they watched their friends and rivals prepare. "Fans," Present Mike shouted, "get ready. The first one-on-one match is about to start. WHO will rise. And WHO will fall. On the massive screens, the names of the first match appeared in bold letters. Students leaned forward in anticipation, some shouting advice, others cheering, others just holding their breath. Izumi clenched her fists, eyes flicking to her first opponent's name on the screen. Her teammates, Momo and Jiro, exchanged nods, ready to support her in any way possible. Meanwhile, Izuku, already behind the scenes near the scavenger hunt prize, watched silently, observing every move, his expression calm but focused. The stadium buzzed with excitement. The one-on-one battles were about to begin, and the UA Sports Festival was about to reach a whole new level. Midnight steps forward, microphone in hand. The stadium hushes. All right, heroes in training. Here are your first round one-on-one matches for the tournament. The massive screens flash the names, one by one, as the crowd cheers. 1. Izumi Midoriya vs Hinata Shinso. 2. Todoroki Shoka vs Abara Shiozaki. 3. Izuku Yagi vs Iida Tenya. 4. Momo Yaoyorozu vs Mei Hatsune. 5. Jiro Kyoka vs Hantasiro. 6. Hiroshima vs Tetsu. 7. Ashido Mina vs Demi Kaminari. 8. Ochako Uraraka vs Katsumi Bakugo. Midnight raises her arms as the crowd erupts. Competitors, prepare yourselves. Get ready to show your skills, strategy, and heart. The first matches begin. Now, the stadium shakes with cheers, students sprint toward the battle zones, and the first round of the one-on-one tournament officially kicks off. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and please hype this video. Now we will see you in the next video.